Welcome to Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe, and hype video. Join members to gain early access to new videos. The main character, after dying, wakes up as Satoru Gojo, the honored one, inside of Young Justice. Will he join Young Justice, Justice League, in Justice League? What will someone with the powers of Satoru Gojo do inside of Young Justice / DC?
Both stepped back. Match didn't drop his guard until I did. Then he walked off without a word and sat near Superboy. Wally whistled. That was crazy. Robin looked at me. You didn't use anything. I didn't need to, I said. He's not looking to beat anyone. He's checking his control. That's what Canary needed to see. Canary stepped back into the ring. He's not a threat. Not to us. Batman's voice came over the speaker. Understood. He remains under watch protocol but has full training access. Superboy stood up. Walked to Match. Sat beside him. Didn't say anything. Didn't need to. Later Mount Justice Common Area. 1320 hours. The team was spread out. Light chatter. Debrief done. No missions scheduled until tomorrow. Match sat at the window, still in his training gear. Quiet. I dropped into the chair next to him and handed him a cold water bottle. He took it. You did fine. He nodded once. You didn't hit me. I didn't need to, I said. You were already listening. He didn't reply. I'm not like you, he said finally. No, I agreed. You're not. Is that a good thing? I leaned back in the chair. Depends what you do next. He sat quiet again. That was fine. Chapter 21, The Name She Flinched At. Gotham Warehouse District Recon Mission. 2245 hours. Cold pavement. Light rain. It was a standard surveillance job. In and out. No contact unless necessary. Batman had passed it down straight from the League, track movement from known traffickers operating near the docks. Suspected ties to the League of Shadows, but no confirmation yet. Team split in two, Robin, Artemis, and me on point. Superboy, Mgan, Calder, and Wally on perimeter. I wore a simple jacket over the black combat suit. No blindfold tonight. Just the sunglasses. Even Gotham's lights couldn't touch Six Eyes in low light. I walked behind the other two, hands in pockets, watching the alley walls shimmer with humidity. My boots didn't make a sound. Neither did Robin's. Artemis kept glancing around like she expected to be watched. I kept noticing her shoulders were too stiff for a recon OP. Robin tapped his gauntlet. Infrared confirms 3 heat signatures inside. Moving crates. That's our contact site. Time to move in. Artemis asked. No, he said. We observe. Batman wants IDs first. I leaned forward, peeking around the rusted cargo container. Inside the warehouse, dim light hung from a chain over a stack of steel crates. 3 men. No uniforms. No League insignia. Just gloves, masks, and attitude. Then I spotted the 4th. Pause, I said. Robin froze. Artemis didn't speak. One of the men had stepped out of the shadows. Not a mover. Not a goon. A tall figure in black. High collar. Tight gloves. Movement too precise. I narrowed my eyes. Oh, I said slowly. That's not just any foot soldier. Robin frowned. Who? That's Hook. He blinked. Cheshire's right hand. Not anymore, I said. He got promoted. Artemis tensed. Hook walked toward the other 3. Said something low. They nodded. The crates were being opened now. Robin tapped his COMM. Calder. Confirmed League of Shadows contact. Visual on hook. 4 total. Understood, Calder replied. Hold position. We held. Then I heard something. Hook spoke again. But this time, loud enough for the mic on Robin's scanner to catch it. Tell your buyer not to be late again. Or he'll be dealing with the crocs. And you know how Jade gets. Artemis didn't move. Then he added. And tell little Artemisia she's out of excuses. Artemis inhaled sharply. Robin turned. I moved instantly. My hand hit her wrist as she started to pull back her bowstring. Stop. Her hand was trembling. Hook didn't hear us. Yet. I looked her dead in the eyes. Lower the bow. Do it. She did. Robin whispered, what did he just call her? I didn't answer. Hook turned and walked out of view. The 3 men kept working. Robin kept his COMM open. They're clearing out. No confrontation. No movement toward our side. Should we disengage? I answered instead. Yeah. We're done. We retreated silently. Artemis didn't speak once. She walked stiff, like her joints weren't moving naturally. Robin kept glancing at her, confused. I said nothing. Mount Justice Post-Mission Debrief Room. 0030 hours. Team gathered for a short debrief. Nightwing sat at the edge of the monitor. Wally was already halfway through a bag of corn chips. Mgan sat next to Calder, projecting an image of the warehouse's floor layout on the table. Batman wasn't present. Too minor a contact. The League would log it, but we weren't taking action. Robin leaned forward. We got names. We got video. We ID'd Hook. That's more than they expected. No fight, Superboy said. That's the win. Calder nodded. Well done. Dismissed. Everyone began filing out. Except Artemis. She stood up quickly and left without a word. Robin hesitated. She's off. Yeah, Wally muttered. She's always touchy about League of Shadows stuff. Robin frowned. Hook said her name. Not Artemis. Her real one. I stood. You didn't recognize it? No. She didn't expect him to know it, I said. That's the problem. Robin paused. You know who she is? I walked toward the exit. I know who her sister is. Wally blinked. Wait, what? I didn't stop. Mount Justice Training Hall 2. 0105 hours. I found her there. She had the lights dimmed. Was shooting into a reinforced target with rapid fire. Perfect grouping. No hesitation. But her shoulders were tight. Her breathing off. Nice grouping, I said. She didn't turn. Go away. I leaned against the wall. No. She loosed another arrow. I'm serious. So am I. Another arrow. Don't start, she said. I stepped forward. You froze, I said. For exactly 2 seconds. I didn't. You did. You were gonna shoot him without a signal. That's not how you work. That's not how we work. She finally turned. Face tight. Eyes narrow. You gonna tell the others? No, I said. Not unless you lie to me. She said nothing. I sat on the bench. Artemisia Croc. Daughter of Sports Master. Sister of Jaden Wen. Known as Cheshire. Real name classified. Born and trained by the League of Shadows until what? 12? 13. She didn't deny it. I left them, she said. I chose to leave. I know, I said. You don't get to judge me. I'm not, I said. But I'm not gonna pretend like that name didn't shake you. She didn't respond. I stood. I'm not the League. I'm not Batman. I don't care what's on your file. She looked up. Then why are you here? Because if Hook knows your name, I said, then Cheshire does. And if she knows, she might show up. And if she shows up, the team needs to be ready. I can handle her. I raised an eyebrow. She stepped forward. She doesn't control me anymore. Then prove it. She narrowed her eyes. What do you want me to do? Tell the team. Before it happens on a mission. Before she says your name and someone loses focus. She looked away. I added, or don't. And I'll cover for you. But that's the last time I will. She turned back slowly. Jaw tight. Hands shaking slightly. They won't trust me. I shrugged. I didn't ask for trust when I joined. I took it. She stared at me. I smiled. You want them to believe you're here for real? Then stop hiding. She didn't answer. Didn't need to. Chapter 22, She Comes for Blood. Happy Harbor Remote Industrial Park. 1445 hours. Clear skies. No League support. The recon OP was supposed to be uneventful. We'd received a ping from one of Batman's lower priority networks, movement from inactive Shadow cell. Possible supply cache. Scan and log only. Team split in two again. Calder, Mgan, and Superboy took the west perimeter. Robin, Artemis, Wally, and I moved in from the east slow, silent, coordinated. Nothing explosive. Standard scan, log coordinates, exfil in 10 minutes. Easy work. I was walking 5 steps behind the others, chewing the last of a lollipop and scanning the structure with 6 eyes. No active defenses. No heat panels. Just one central room with residual heat, maybe 5 degrees above ambient. Someone had been here recently, but no one's inside now. I gave a nod. Place is cold, I said. They packed up. Still worth recording, Robin said, flicking his scanner out. Warehouse locks non-lethal, Wally muttered. I'll pop it. Artemis didn't speak. She was staring at the roofline. Bow not drawn, but held tight. I stepped up next to her. You feel it? She nodded once. I don't see anything, Robin said. She's not wrong, I said. Something's watching us. Not moving. Artemis took a step forward. The shadow on the top left corner of the roof shifted a brief sway, less than a breath. Wally leaned in. There's something up. The skylight shattered. And she landed. Cheshire. Black armor. Masked face. Curved blades drawn. Landed in a crouch, perfect control. No sound. One hand on the ground, the other already in motion. Artemis froze. Robin's eyes widened. Whoa. I stepped forward immediately. Stand down, I said. She's not here for you. Cheshire didn't answer. She was staring directly at Artemis. Been a while, baby sister. Wally blinked. Baby sister. Robin's hand hovered over his utility belt. Is that? Yes, I said flatly. That's Cheshire. Artemis still hadn't moved. Cheshire tilted her head. You were supposed to be smarter than this, she said. Joining the Boy Scouts? living in a cave with aliens and orphans. Artemis slowly raised her bow. You don't get to talk to me like you know me. Oh, I know you, Cheshire said. I trained with you. I covered for you. And when you ran, I told Dad you weren't dead. Artemis's hands were shaking. Cheshire stepped forward, not raising her weapons. He was proud. You know that? You made him proud by walking out. Said only the strong know when to quit the weak. Don't say his name, Artemis whispered. Cheshire's eyes narrowed behind the mask. Why? You still think you can be normal? You think those capes will protect you when they learn what you are? I'm not like you. You are me. I moved next to Artemis, not in front of her. She needed the space. If you're here for her, I said calmly, you're wasting your time. Cheshire looked at me. And who the hell are you supposed to be? Another sad league stray. I grinned. I'm the one who'll break your fingers if you get any closer. Her blades flicked up. Oh, she said. Then she was in motion. Engagement, Gojo and Artemis vs Cheshire. Cheshire moved first fast, clean, straight for me. She knew I was the threat. I let her blade hit infinity instantly stopped. She blinked, stepped back, tried to pivot past me. I slid forward, tapped her shoulder with 2 fingers, and sent her flying into a stack of crates. Robin moved to cover the rear entrance. Wally zipped up to reinforce the left wall. No exit. Just us. Cheshire rolled up from the crates, crouched low. Artemis finally loosed her first arrow. Cheshire deflected it. Then charged her sister directly. I let them. Artemis ducked the first swipe, countered with a kick, and fired another arrow point blank. Cheshire dodged mid-air, twisted behind her, and sliced the tip off Artemis's bow. That's a new move, Cheshire said. I've been training, Artemis snapped, flipping back. They circled. No hesitation now. No trembling hands. I stepped to the edge of the fight watching. Not helping. Not unless she broke. Robin called out, 2 more shadows incoming. I turned. I've got them. Side engagement exterior. The 2 new shadows dropped from the ceiling standard league bodyguards. Nothing enhanced. Just fast, trained, and confident. I deactivated infinity and took 3 steps toward them. They attacked in sync. I hit one in the chest with a flat palm. He flew into the wall, unconscious. The other ducked, went for a leg sweep. I let him. Fell backward into a roll, popped up behind him, and locked his arm. Sit down, I said. Dropped him with 1 move. Then I turned back toward the center. Main engagement Artemis vs Cheshire. Artemis was bleeding from the side of her forehead. Not deep. She was still moving. Cheshire's mask was cracked. They were both breathing hard. Artemis held a broken arrow like a blade now. Not shooting anymore, just stabbing. I'm not coming back, Artemis said. You're already marked, Cheshire said. You think Dad's gonna let this slide? I don't care what he wants. Cheshire hesitated. Then she said it quiet. Just for Artemis. Don't let me be the one to bury you. And she threw a smoke bomb. I moved instantly, activating infinity to block the escape. But she'd already vanished. Even I couldn't track her escape point. Mount Justice Medbay. 1735 hours. Artemis sat on the table. Elbow bandaged. Face wiped clean. Eyes down. The others were quiet. Robin leaned against the wall. You okay? She nodded. No one said anything else. I stepped in last. She looked up at me. Thanks. For not stepping in. For letting me fight her. You're not her, I said. You needed to prove it to yourself. She nodded again. Robin stepped forward. She called you Artemisia. That's my real name, she said. Artemisia Croc. Everyone stared. Wally blinked. You're Sportsmaster's daughter. Yet. No one moved. I looked at all of them. She told you. That's all that matters. Wally rubbed the back of his neck. You gonna leave? No, she said immediately. I'm staying. This is my team. Calder stepped forward and placed a hand on her shoulder. Then we stand with you. No one argued. Not even Batman. Chapter 23, The Room with No Masks. Mount Justice Private Briefing Chamber B. 2100 hours. Encrypted League channel active. 2 observers present. 1 line of questioning. Batman was already seated when I walked in. The lights were low, cold. Room cleared. No one else allowed in. The walls had no reflections, no angles. Surveillance proofed. No intercom. No windows. Across from him sat Artemis. She was still in her field gear. Dried blood near her left elbow. Hair pulled back too tight. Shoulders set like she was bracing for contact, not conversation. I stepped in without knocking and sat in the chair next to her. Batman didn't look at me. You didn't need to be here. I shrugged, leaning back in the seat. Yeah, but you let me in anyway. That means you want me here. Even if you won't say it. He turned to Artemis. You've never been questioned directly. That ends now. She nodded. No flinch. No hesitation. I didn't say anything. Not yet. Batman folded his hands. Full name. Artemisia Croc. Parental record. Lawrence Croc. Pollen when. Batman's fingers didn't twitch. His voice didn't change. Affiliation of both. Lawrence was known as Sportsmaster. League of Shadows contractor. Also freelance enforcer for the Injustice Society. My mother operated as huntress before her paralysis. And your sister? Artemis exhaled through her nose. Jaden Wen. Cheshire. Batman stared. Why did you hide it? She didn't flinch. Because it wasn't your business, she said. I came to the team to be something else. Not drag them into my family's problems. I looked over at her. She didn't glance at me. Batman didn't move. The League has access to sealed records. We knew who you were the moment you joined. Artemis blinked once. Then why did you let me in? To see what you'd do when it mattered. Silence. I leaned forward, finally speaking. She passed the test. This wasn't a test, Batman replied. Sure, I said, but she still passed it. Batman turned slightly toward me. You stepped aside during the mission. Let her fight an active League of Shadows assassin alone. She needed to fight her alone, I said. If I'd stepped in, it would have turned into a power match. Then it's about me. Not about her. You gambled with team safety. No, I said. I calculated the risk. Artemis held her own. No one else got hit. Batman stared for a long moment. Then turned back to Artemis. You knew Jade would come eventually. Yes, she said. She's always been unpredictable, but not disloyal. I knew if I stayed visible long enough, she'd make contact. You let her find you. I didn't have a choice, she said. She always finds me. And when she does again, I'll stop her. Batman was silent for a few seconds. then asked. Are you compromised? Artemis stared back at him. No. Do you want to go back? She didn't even blink. Never. He stared a little longer. Then typed something on his gauntlet. I heard the channel encrypt deeper. Effective immediately, your background will be disclosed to the League only. The team is not obligated to report it upward. Artemis nodded. Thank you. You'll remain under standard surveillance, Batman said. But your access level is not being revoked. She nodded again. Then he looked at me. Say what you came here to say. I smiled. All right. I leaned forward. If she breaks rank, I'll stop her. If she hesitates, I'll put her down before she gets anyone hurt. If she gets turned, I'll clean up the mess personally. But she won't. Batman waited. I didn't blink. He nodded once. Then stood. We're done here. He walked out. The door closed. Artemis sat still. Silent. I stayed seated. After about 20 seconds, she finally spoke. He didn't ask me why I joined. He already knows, I said. She turned to me. Do you? I shrugged. Don't need to. But if you want me to, I will. She didn't respond. I leaned back. You did good. You kept control. You didn't let her manipulate you. Artemis exhaled slowly. She's not done. Of course she's not. She always escalates. Then escalate with her, I said. Don't apologize for surviving her. She finally looked at me. What if I lose next time? You won't. She blinked. You sound sure. I am, I said. Because I'll be watching. She didn't smile. But she didn't flinch, either. That was enough. Mount Justice Main Hall. 2,215 hours. The rest of the team was quiet. Robin and Wally had taken over the training simulator. Calder was speaking with Red Tornado over the Zeta line. Superboy sat on the couch, watching the mission log video from earlier on loop. Mgan sat nearby but hadn't spoken in a while. When Artemis walked in, everyone turned. She didn't speak. I followed right behind her. Robin walked over. Everything good? Artemis nodded. Yeah. We're clear. Wally grinned. So. Cheshire is actually your sister? That's insane. I know, Artemis said. I mean, it's kinda badass. She blinked. You think so? Wally shrugged. I mean, yeah. She's scary, but you're scarier. Artemis actually smiled. Robin leaned into me. She gonna be alright? Yeah, I said. She just needed the air cleared. Mgan stood. We're still a team. Nothing's changed. Artemis looked around. Thanks. Calder nodded. Together. No one argued. And I didn't need to say anything else. Chapter 24, The Second Android. Mount Justice Briefing Room. 0855 hours. Calm. No alerts. The monitor on the far wall projected the League's live feed summary. Satellite footage. Weak transmission. No audio. Just a wide shot of a shipping yard in coastal Greece and a frozen timestamp, 3:41 GMT. The League hadn't given us the mission. Not yet. They were just sharing data. Superboy sat on the edge of the table with his arms crossed, staring at the screen. Robin was standing on the console again, typing fast, cross-referencing the yard's schematics. Wally was half asleep in a swivel chair, chewing on something orange and processed. Artemis had her legs up on a bench. Mgan floated in the air beside the ceiling light, cross-legged, projecting everything through her mind link for faster access. Match stood alone in the corner, saying nothing. Watching. And Red Tornado stood at the front of the room, hands clasped behind his back, addressing us in his usual blank tone. There is currently no direct evidence of League of Shadows involvement, Red Tornado said. However, the data presented by the satellite indicates anomalous movement of military-grade storage containers. Their movement pattern does not match any registered local security contractors. Then who's moving them? Robin asked. That remains unknown. I sat in the back, legs stretched, blindfold pushed up onto my forehead, sunglasses on. The light in this room sucked white, overexposed. 6 eyes picked up every screen reflection, every flicker of flickering pixels from the overheads. I'm guessing Batman already has someone tailing the site, I said. Otherwise he would have kicked us over there 3 hours ago. That is correct, Tornado replied. The League's strategy does not currently require team deployment. Then why are we watching this? Wally asked. To understand the protocols in place, Tornado said. This is not a training scenario. The League wants your generation to become adaptable. Learning through data, not just conflict. Artemis sighed. So we're watching containers roll around. Mgan turned slightly. We should still pay attention. Superboy didn't move. They don't deploy us until it's already dangerous. That's what they're waiting for. Then Tornado paused. Literally. Mid-sentence. The objects were. He stopped. Everyone looked up. He stood still. No blinking. No movement. Robin jumped down from the console. Tornado. Silence. Mgan floated down, eyes glowing slightly. I'm not getting anything from him. His mind's blank. Wally stood. Wait, blank like asleep? Or blank like dead? He doesn't have a human mind, I said. So if the mental signals cut off, then something hit his core. Superboy turned toward me. He's down. I stood up. Yet. And not by accident. Then Red Tornado moved. Not gradually. He jerked once like a puppet string got yanked. And then. He spoke again. But not in his voice. Unit Prime compromised. Control restored. Executing objective, eliminate project assets. His hands shifted into full offense mode, fingers retracting, palms rotating outward. Then he aimed straight at Superboy. I raised Infinity instantly. Move. And the entire training table exploded under a red burst of wind pressure. Mount Justice Briefing Room, Cont D. 0900 hours. 0 warning. Red Tornado's first blast took the center table apart like it was made of plywood. Shards of reinforced polymer spun through the air. Mgan erected a kinetic barrier around Artemis and Robin. Wally vanished in a red streak. Superboy stood still, arms up, blocking the impact. The floor cracked under his feet. I held the infinity field firm and tight, no expansion. Just a clean vertical wall between the rest of the team and Tornado's projected path. Behind the attack, Tornado's posture changed. More hunched. His legs didn't track the way they usually did. His arms adjusted too fast, like they weren't synced to a human structure anymore. Someone or something was overriding his body. Robin shouted, "That's not Tornado's control interface." "I know," I said. "He's being hijacked." Superboy charged him. Tornado twisted at the last second and fired a concentrated stream of compressed wind point blank. It didn't push Connor. But it forced him back 2 steps. Wally reappeared next to me. Okay, tell me you know what's going on. I kept my field up. It's not him. It's someone using his frame. Probably another android. What kind? Cadmus level, I said. Smart enough to piggyback his core but dumb enough to start a fight in our house. Artemis pulled another arrow from her quiver and aimed. Do we take him down? Don't break the body, I said. Tornado might still be in there. Robin launched a handful of microdiscs. EMP staggered. 2 hit. Tornado staggered back a few inches. Then his head snapped toward Robin. His voice changed again. Deeper. Rougher. Unit Zeta active. Targeting sequence engaged. I dropped my barrier and stepped forward. Yab. That's not our boy. I raised my left hand. Don't move, I told him. He moved. So I hit him. Not a special move. No domain. Just a palm tap to the chest with a reinforced push from my infinity pressure. It didn't rupture his chassis, but it launched him through the briefing room wall. We followed. Mount Justice South Wing Corridor. 0903 hours. Tornado controlled by whoever was using his hardware slammed into the far wall, dragging metal and paneling with him. He didn't slow down. He adjusted instantly, lifted off the floor with wind thrust, and hovered 5 meters in the air, both arms cycling through output configurations. He fired again. Directly at Robin. I stepped in front and redirected it upward. Robin rolled past my leg. Thanks. Buy me 2 seconds, I said. Done. I activated 6 eyes, dropped the sunglasses. His energy core wasn't out of sync. That meant his consciousness module was the one corrupted. Probably spoofed remotely. Not a virus. A full overwrite. All right, I muttered. Then you're not Red Tornado anymore. Superboy leapt up, grabbed Tornado mid-flight, and slammed him back down. The floor cracked under both of them. Match followed immediately after his punch dented Tornado's shoulder, forcing the android back into the wall again. Wally zipped by, dropping more discs along the corridor. That should fry his altitude control. Nope, I said. They're not syncing. He's not using League Tech anymore. Artemis stepped forward. Then what is he using? Not what, I said. Who? Mount Justice Systems Core Access. 0907 hours. Red Tornado's body staggered again. He froze for a second. Then his body split open at the mid-back hinges opening, new panels shifting out. A second set of hands emerged. Attached to the frame. Robin, I said, tell me I'm not seeing what I'm seeing. He tapped his gauntlet, eyes wide. Holy, that's not Tornado at all. A figure crawled out of Tornado's split-back armor. Slimmer. White frame. Black markings. Red optics. The torso detached with a hiss. The original frame fell limp. The new android landed in a crouch. Red volcano. Match tensed. What is that? I stepped forward. His brother. Wally whispered, wait, Tornado has a brother. He has 3, I said. 2 failed. This is one of them. Robin checked his scanner. He hacked Tornado's core. Hijacked the whole thing. He's been hiding inside him. Red Volcano looked up at us, eyes glowing red. You were not the targets. But your elimination is now required. I removed the blindfold completely. Cute, I said. But if you think a fancy paint job and a scary voice are enough to beat me, you're dumber than Cadmus. He didn't wait for a reply. He launched straight at me. I didn't move. Impact, 0. He hit my infinity head on. The field didn't even ripple. He bounced off it like glass. Artemis fired an arrow at his right joint. Robin hacked into the room's backup generator and triggered a surge. Mgan launched a full telekinetic push that barely slowed him. Then Superboy caught him mid-run and dragged him through the far wall, straight into the core chamber. Match followed. Wally vanished. Robin yelled, "Don't let him near the power nodes." I walked slowly. "Hey," I called out to the air. "You can hear me in there, Tornado. Don't sleep too long." Chapter 25, No Ghosts Left Inside. Mount Justice Core Chamber. 0908 hours. No league support. Just us. Red Tornado's outer shell had collapsed in the hallway, and the real threat, the inner frame, the one wearing the hijacked identity, was already on the move. Red Volcano didn't hesitate. The second his feet hit the core chamber floor, he launched a wind-laced plasma strike directly at Match and Superboy. I stepped in through the side door. "I'll handle the android. You two keep him grounded." Match was already moving. His boots skidded into the floor, cracking the tiles as he shifted low and fast, absorbing the initial shock with his forearms. Superboy rotated in from the opposite angle, grabbing Volcano from behind and dragging him backward. The android countered with an elbow to the ribs. Superboy didn't flinch, but he didn't have to. That delay gave me my window. I stepped in. One palm strike. I didn't use infinity. Not yet. Just raw impact. Volcano's head snapped sideways. His balance broke. He overcorrected. Rookie mistake, even for a robot. Robin's voice rang out through the comms. "He's not synced to Red Tornado's combat protocols. Totally different code." "Yeah," I said, "I noticed." Artemis fired a smoke arrow into the ceiling. Wally zipped in and out through the steam, dropping microdiscs along the support struts. Mgan floated near the edge of the chamber, psychic energy glowing at her temples. She wasn't inside his head. She couldn't be. But she was tracking movement second by second. Red Volcano recalibrated. He lifted both hands. Arms expanded. Internal turbines locked. And then his voice changed again. "Not tornadoes. Not distorted. Clear. Male. Confident. You protect a failed line. You protect a weak machine. Tornado was made for obedience. I was made to act." I didn't respond. Just raised my field. Infinity, active. His next blast hit the edge and fizzled instantly. He tilted his head. "Your ability disrupts force application." I smiled. "Yeah. I'm annoying like that." Superboy leapt again, tackled Volcano mid-sentence. The android hit the wall with a crunch. Match moved in with a sharp combo, 2 punches and a shoulder slam that left visible dents in the chassis. Volcano responded with a burst of thermal energy. The floor around him melted and hissed. I kept my distance, studying the heat map. No fluctuation in core power yet. He still had a failsafe. Something hidden. Robin's voice cut through. "He's trying to reach an uplink node. If he transmits, he could override more than Tornado." "Then we stop him now," Calder said. "Together." I raised one hand. "Everyone back." They obeyed without asking. Red Volcano stood. He looked at me. "You're not like the others." "Nope," I said. "I'm stronger." "Unmeasurable." "Sounds like someone's insecure." He leapt. I didn't flinch. He reached for my throat, probably thinking brute force would pierce the barrier. I activated a compressed spatial collapse around his hand. Not lethal. Just enough to dislocate the joint. He retracted instantly. I stepped forward. You're using Tornado's emotional profile to simulate aggression, I said. But you don't feel anything. I'm built better. You're built stupid. He lunged again. This time, I used my domain. Not the full version, just a thin layer. A trap. He passed the threshold. And froze. 1 second of total binding. Robin activated the EMP failover directly below his feet. The shockwave blasted through his open chassis. Not strong enough to kill. Just enough to sever control. The lights in his eyes dimmed. He dropped to his knees. Then collapsed. Hard. No more movement. Silence. Superboy exhaled. That it? Robin checked his gauntlet. No energy spikes. No data outflow. Cores dormant. Wally rubbed his arms. Okay, not to sound ungrateful, but can we never do that again? Mgan floated down. Red Tornado's external shell is still intact. Maybe we can recover his original code. Artemis walked over. We better. Match looked down at the destroyed frame. This was his brother. Yeah, I said. In the way parasites are cousins. Mount Justice Corps Medical Bay. 1013 hours. Tornado's body had been recovered and was resting in the sealed lab. Jaeon was already en route to attempt psychic resynchronization. Robin and Calder handled the security logs. Wally disappeared into the kitchen. Mgan was still floating, her posture slightly drained. I sat in the back hallway outside the lab. Coat off. Arms folded. Glasses on again. Superboy walked up. You knew that was coming. No. But you acted like you did. I looked at him. Because I don't need confirmation to take control of a situation. He nodded once. He was fast. But not smart, I said. He used Tornado's shell, but not his mind. Superboy leaned on the wall. So we won. I shrugged. For now. Silence passed for a minute. Then Match walked over. What happens if Red Tornado doesn't wake up? I didn't answer immediately. Then we build him back. Artemis stepped into view. And if he can't be rebuilt? I stood. Then I'll handle what's next. Chapter 26, Concrete Beneath Tokyo. Tokyo, Japan Subterranean Industrial District. Local time, 21:14 JST. League surveillance blackout, active. It wasn't a League mission. Not officially. Batman had called it quiet reconnaissance with no expectation of engagement. Intel trail from Red Volcano's attack had pinged a neural signal override trace back to an abandoned robotics facility in the Tokyo underground. League of Shadows had used the site years ago during the Cyber Initiative era, but no one had set foot there since the armistice with Japan's own meta-human department. Or so the League believed. I stepped out of the League's transport tunnel onto damp concrete. No wind. No light. The entrance behind us sealed silently. Robin stood at my side. Full stealth gear. No cape. Night vision lenses on. No sound from his boots. Picking up anything yet? He asked. I activated 6 eyes behind the sunglasses. My voice stayed level. 4 residual energy trails. No movement. 1 static body signature 40 meters down. Not human. Robin pulled a data pad from his belt. Confirmed. Distortion field at the lower level. We walked slowly. No comms. No chatter. Just the sound of water dripping and our steps touching faded white paint lines. The walls were reinforced with old-tech lead concrete sandwiching, copper mesh for shielding. I'd seen better insulation in prison cells. This place had been off-grid for years. That didn't mean it was safe. Why bring just me? Robin asked. Why not Wally? Or Calder? Because you ask smarter questions, I said, and you don't run your mouth when something's wrong. He smirked behind the mask. You sure you don't just like me best? I shrugged. Well, you're easier to keep alive than Wally. So yet. We reached the lower level. The corridor opened into a wide lab space. Metal grating underfoot. Console racks pushed to the side. One massive monitor dead center, half-lit. A single android frame headless lay on a reinforced table, arms wired to the wall, spine exposed. Robin scanned it. It's not Tornado. No, I said. It's older. He crouched beside the table. This thing's decades out of date. Manual CPU array, wired hydraulics, no atmospheric plating. It's junk. I walked to the console and wiped away the dust. 6 eyes flickered. The power system wasn't dead. Just asleep. This wasn't a lab, I said. It was a prototype farm. Robin looked up. For what? Shells, I said. Remote units. Android bodies without onboard intelligence. He stood. Why would anyone make that? I activated the console with a simple touch. Power hummed quietly under the desk. For control, I said. Then the lights shut off. All of them. Robin reacted instantly, pulling a small sonic disc from his belt and activating a field pulse. It lit the room for half a second in a blue wave. I stood still. There were 3 new energy signatures now. Motionless. But they weren't bodies. Someone just triggered a memory loop, I said. This lab's running a ghost code. Robin narrowed his eyes. Meaning? Simulated consciousness replay, I explained. Something wants us to see what happened here. And the monitor turned on by itself. Footage playback. Dated, 10 years earlier. Location, Site X0114. The screen didn't show security footage. It showed a chair. Steel. Unpadded. Restrained. And a human man tied to it, gagged, unmoving. A voice spoke from off-screen. Not synthetic. Male. Calm. Cold. Test subject 11. Organic tether established. Upload beginning. Then the man's body started to convulse. Violently. He strained against the straps. Foamed at the mouth. The monitor flickered. Then cut to black. Robin said nothing. I looked at the power feed. That wasn't Cadmus, I said. You sure? Cadmus makes soldiers, I said. This was built for something else. Permanent transfer. Digital overwrite. No consciousness left. Robin looked at me. Like Red Volcano. No, I said. Red Volcano was a theft. This was possession. The lights came back on. And standing in the far corner of the room was another android. Fully built. Black frame. Silver limbs. Yellow visor across its face. It didn't speak. Robin moved toward his belt. I raised a hand. Don't. The android stepped forward. Unit, Sigma. It paused. Then, with perfect vocal modulation, it repeated something else. I am Red Inferno. Robin's eyes widened. That's not possible. Red Inferno was destroyed with the others. I scanned him. The chassis is different, I said. Voices copied. Signal matches 93%, but the power source is off pattern. They cloned him. Who's controlling it? I stepped forward. I'll ask. I stopped 3 meters away. What's your directive? The android tilted its head. Then said. Observe Satoru Gojo. Robin blinked. What? Target, Class Omega. 6I's signature confirmed. Delay engagement until system confirmation. Threat prioritization, extreme. Robin moved again. The android didn't attack. Robin, I said. Stay back. You just became the mission objective. Yeah, I said, that happens sometimes. The android scanned me top to bottom. Its visor flickered twice. Then it said. You are not from this dimension. Confirm or deny. I smiled. Neither. Robin whispered, that's not protocol. Androids don't ask. I nodded. Exactly. Which meant. Whatever's running this isn't just after Red Tornado, I said. They're testing who notices. The android's eyes dimmed. Then it shut down completely. Mount Justice return briefing. Leak encrypted log, filed 0132 hours JST. We brought the entire unit back. It's under lock in the lowest vault below the Zeta platform. Batman reviewed the footage. Didn't speak during the debrief. Superman didn't sit down. Red Tornado hadn't woken up. Robin filed a full report. Mgan backed it up with a psychic trace. Nothing followed us home. No external command signals detected since departure. But I watched the frame. And I knew. Red Volcano wasn't alone. Someone had sent Sigma to test a question. And the answer wasn't supposed to exist. Chapter 27, Snow over Moscow. Moscow, Russia. Edge of Star City Safe Zone. Local time, 16:05 MSK. Temperature, -14 degrees Celsius. The Zeta beam deposited me and Superboy directly into a reinforced League field post buried half a kilometer under Moscow's frozen northern edge. The outpost was disguised as a power distribution hub. Static generators humming, frost patterns on steel walls, and a pressure-sealed gate that hissed with every cycle. This was not a standard mission drop. Batman didn't send full team deployment. Only us. Inside, standing in front of the terminal, was Satoru. Full cape. Hat on. Face clean. Older than I expected, but still sharp. His eyes tracked both of us the moment we appeared. You're early, he said. I don't like being late to surprises, I replied. Superboy glanced around. This is the site. Satoru gestured to the far wall. The security shutter opened slowly, revealing a downward elevator shaft lit by yellow backup lighting. 3 hours ago, Satoru said, a remote League beacon in Siberia went dark. We traced a short burst of neural AI activity from a satellite above the region. Not Cadmus. Not Tornado. Not Red Volcano either, I added. Satoru nodded. Correct. This isn't one of Moro's. Superboy crossed his arms. Then what is it? Satoru hesitated before speaking. Old Cold War hardware. Originally designed for anti-meta-human suppression during the era of rogue Soviet metagenes. Decommissioned. Disarmed. Locked away. And now it's walking again, I said. Yes. The elevator dropped. We descended. Sub-level 4, abandoned Soviet lab complex. 1621 MSK. The lab was dead. Every corridor, every room was buried in ice. The temperature here never broke above freezing. Metal walls lined with rust. Power cables torn from the ceiling. The lights were flickering low, powered only by the League's portable field node, which Satoru had deployed manually to give us visibility. Environment reads stable, Superboy muttered. But I don't see any movement. I crouched by a partially melted wall console. Scanned it with 6 eyes. The signature was faint but clear. There was an energy burst here less than 3 hours ago. Roughly aligned with Zeta-level displacement tech, but unstable. No outflow. No ignition damage. Zeta stepped forward. Meaning? Whoever activated the prototype didn't break it out, I said. They woke it up. And then it moved on its own. Superboy pulled back a steel plate near the ground. Behind it was a small pile of old bone human. Dried out. Burned at the edges. That's not from today, he said. No, I replied. But it tells us what this place was used for. Zeta didn't speak. He already knew. This wasn't an R&D lab. This was a containment site. Maybe even a disposal facility. And something inside here didn't stay buried. Main chamber, Site A07 Ozero. 1635 MSK. The heart of the complex opened in a circular formation, steel platforms above a deep pit. The interior diameter of the vault was over 30 meters wide, with 6 mechanical armatures anchored to the ceiling, each with claw-like restraints dangling from broken hinges. In the center of the pit stood a single humanoid figure. Motionless. Metal body, reinforced limbs, no visible head. Just a blank dome where the face should be. I dropped down into the pit alone. Superboy stayed above, keeping watch. I landed 5 meters from the frame. No reaction. Any ID? I asked. Zeta floated down slowly behind me, cloak adjusting without sound. No designation, he said. Codename in Soviet files was simply Ozero. It means lake. It was created to absorb kinetic force and redirect it via electromagnetic field loops. So a living battery. More like a dead one. I crouched. Scanned the frame. The power signature wasn't active. But it wasn't gone either. Dormant like a sleeping mine. Who flipped it on? Zeta shook his head. Unknown. Superboy dropped into the pit now. Landed on the far side. As soon as he touched the ground, the android moved. Not fast. Not human. Just a slow, joint-by-joint rise from kneeling to standing. Zeta raised both hands. Gojo. I see it. Superboy raised his fists. I raised mine. The android didn't speak. It didn't make a sound. Its dome tilted toward me slight, like a neck movement that didn't quite align with vertebrae. Then it punched the floor. Once. And the whole pit exploded in a magnetic burst. Engagement, Gojo and Superboy vs. Ozero. I activated Infinity the moment the shockwave started. Superboy was caught in midair, slammed into the wall with enough force to leave an impact crater. He recovered fast. No serious damage. I slid sideways across the pit wall, landed upside down, and kicked off. Ozero didn't track me. Not the way Volcano did. This android didn't have a brain. It had a function. Redirect. Crush. Absorb. I hit the center of the pit with a focused domain compression, restricting the magnetic field from expanding further. Superboy returned with a flying tackle. It barely moved the thing. Zeta chanted something behind us. A ring of symbols formed around Ozero's feet, but the electromagnetic interference was bending the sigils. His field disrupts mystic geometry, Zeta said. Then don't rely on magic, I told him. Just hold the ceiling up. Superboy and I went again. This time, I touched the dome. Nothing. No resistance. No feedback. Just dead energy. But in the space of that contact, 6 eyes fed me a feedback signal. This body wasn't empty. It was receiving from somewhere else. I found the broadcast source, I said. It's not here. It's in orbit. Satoru blinked. Satellite uplink. No. Dimensional drift beacon. Superboy punched the android again. This time the arm cracked, but it reformed fast. He stepped back. Gojo. This isn't a weapon. I nodded. It's a receiver. I dropped both hands. Then I released full pressure. Domain overlap, 5-meter crush. The magnetic field buckled. The dome cracked. And the android shut down. Fully. No motion. Dead. Extraction 1 hour later. We left the frame sealed in a quantum box, dropped it into a blackout pod, and returned via Zeta tube. Batman had already ordered orbital scans for similar signals. The satellite wasn't one of ours. It wasn't even from our system. Satoru said nothing else that night. Superboy asked me one thing on the way back. You think this thing was sent here? I answered without looking at him. Not sent. Then what? Summoned. Chapter 28, Feedback from Nowhere. Fortress of Solitude Restricted Access Chamber. Global timestamp, 1044 UTC. Phantom Zone activity, unstable. I stood alone with Superboy inside the Fortress of Solitude's secured core. This wasn't the public gallery, the one with the Kryptonian beasts and the floating archive crystals. This was deeper. Quiet. Sealed off with Kryptonian encryption that not even Batman could remote override. Behind me, the boom tube arch, humming softly, powered by a custom StarkTech/Wayne fusion cell. In front of me, the Phantom Zone projector. Superboy stood with his arms folded, staring at the wall like it owed him something. He hadn't said anything since we arrived. I didn't push. The projector interface flickered. Power signature confirmed, the system said. Singularity coordinates matched. Entanglement energy consistent with non-Kryptonian architecture. Superboy finally turned to me. What does that mean? It means the thing we found in Russia has a cousin stuck in the Phantom Zone, I said. He walked over. And Superman let us come here alone. No, I said. He asked Batman to stop us. Superboy blinked. So what happened? I tapped the control panel. I asked Batman first. The beam behind us hummed louder. The boom tube gateway vibrated once, then synced. Link established, the system said. You may enter. Ready? I asked. Superboy didn't answer. He just stepped through the beam. I followed. Phantom Zone, entry layer. Visual parameters, distorted. Structural stability, questionable. It's not a void. Not really. The Phantom Zone is a multi-angled plane of suppressed time and dislocated physics. Bodies don't move the way they should. Sound travels without air. Mass doesn't respond to force the same way. There's no wind. No light. Just waves of dimensional haze, shifting like water even though nothing's wet. Superboy stepped first. He didn't drift. He sank slowly, like walking into dense fog. I adjusted infinity to counter the pressure. 6 eyes helped stabilize the input, balancing the Phantom Zone's drag with a layered counter pressure of my own. Do you feel that? He asked. Yeah, I said. Something's moving. Ahead of us, a series of half-formed floating platforms rotated without orbit-broken architecture. Some looked like jagged cities. Others like cages. All drifting. Then I saw it. About 50 meters away. Hovering above a sharp, narrow structure that looked like a ruined tower. Another android. Same type as Ozero. But taller. Armored differently. No dome. This one had a full helmet angled back like a crest. Superboy tensed. How did it get here? It didn't, I said. It was born here. I walked forward. No hesitation. It didn't react. Six Eyes says no aggression. No tracking movement. It's offline. Superboy followed. Then we take it. We can't. It's attached to this space. Meaning? I pointed at its chest. There was no core. Just an open gap. Inside that gap was something worse. A hole. Not damage. Not decay. A literal spatial fracture, something folded inward. Impossible geometry. Superboy stepped closer, but I stopped him. Don't. He looked at me. Why? Because if that thing activates, it won't fight like Ozero did. It'll collapse space around us. It's a bomb. No. A trap. The android twitched. Just once. Superboy stepped back. I didn't flinch. Who made you? I asked it. It didn't answer. But the space around it pulsed. Superboy whispered, something else is coming. I know. The structure beneath the android lit up, red lines forming geometric shapes, glowing upward into the floating frame. Then it spoke. Not the android. The air. You do not belong here. Superboy looked around. Who said that? The android's eyes lit red. But it didn't move. The voice continued. You brought the wrong key. And now we see you. Superboy stepped toward me. What's it talking about? I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. And I don't guess. I raised infinity. My field shimmered at full power. The red lines beneath the android surged. And then it opened its chest fully. And absorbed the phantom zone's geometry around it. Everything folded once. Superboy grabbed my arm. Gojo. I blinked us 10 meters out. The android vanished. Not destroyed. Gone. As if the phantom zone had swallowed it again. Superboy was still holding his breath. You good? I asked. He nodded slowly. Yet. I lowered the field. Next time, I said, you ask before you walk into a spatial rupture. He scowled. Noted. We turned back toward the boom tube platform. We walked in silence. Fortress of Solitude secure return log. Local time, 10:59 UTC. Superman met us as soon as we returned. Arms folded. Jaw tight. You went in anyway. I pulled off my blindfold and glasses. Yup. Superboy stepped forward. There's something else in there. I know, Superman said. I warned them this might happen. They? I asked. He didn't answer. Typical. I walked past him. You're going to need better locks, I said. Chapter 29, Speed Traps and Phantom Shadows. Central City, USA 14:15 EST. High priority alert. No league backup assigned. The Phantom Zone had rules. The kind of rules that didn't break unless someone on the outside made them break. When Superman told me last chapter that something might come through, he was only half right. It didn't just come through. It chose to come here. Central City was already under full lockdown by the time I zeted in. Airspace cleared. Local authorities rerouted traffic 4 miles outside the perimeter. People were being told it was a power grid malfunction. No one believed that. They could feel the air shift. they could see the light poles flickering in sequence. And in the middle of Keystone Bridge, halfway over the river, the Phantom Zone signature was burning a slow red spiral into the pavement. I walked up to the barricade. Wally was already there, pacing back and forth, eating some kind of wrap with one hand and scanning the signal with his goggles. Finally, he said. "What took you so long?" I pulled my sunglasses down. "You didn't even send a message. I figured Batman would dispatch you." I looked at the pavement, then up at the bridge structure. The markings were precise. Burned in a curve. Not damage placement. Meaning the entity had control. "How long's it been active?" I asked. 15 minutes since first flare, Wally said, tossing the last of the food. "I've scanned the frequency 3 times. It's not pulsing, it's not outputting, it's waiting." "Yeah," I said. "For me." He blinked. "You sure?" I didn't answer. We walked past the yellow barricade. No League drones. No support. Just 2 people. And one problem. About 20 meters down, in the exact center of the bridge, was a sphere of warp space. Maybe 2 meters wide. Glowing faintly. The air around it shimmered like heated glass, but no heat was being released. The signal came from it. Not leaking out. Broadcasting. Wally checked his goggles again. Signal structures not like Ozuro's. Less compression. More stable. I stepped forward and studied the ripples in real time. The gravity field around it wasn't fixed. It adjusted with my movement. "Stay back," I said. "Don't touch the outer edge." Wally slowed. "It's reactive." "Yet." He hesitated. "So what's the plan?" "Simple." I walked forward and touched it with my index finger. The moment my finger met the distortion, it vanished. The sphere folded inward, fast and silent, and in its place stood an android. Not like the others. This one looked human. Same height as me. Clean white armor. Blue undersuit. Face completely covered by a glass plate with no expression. No weapons visible. But it moved. And it looked straight at me. Then it spoke. "Gojo Satoru." Confirmed. Wally whispered, "That's never a good sign." The android didn't move its feet. It just adjusted its shoulders slightly, like it was waking up muscle memory it didn't have. "Engagement protocol, hold. Observe. Assess." I pulled off the glasses. "Talk fast," I said. "Or this is going to end fast." It replied without hesitation. "I was not sent." "Then why are you here?" "You disturbed the signal integrity of Zone Unit 03. I came to assess cause." "Unit 03's dead." "Acknowledged." "Cause, you." Wally leaned closer. "Wait, are we being interrogated by it?" I kept my eyes on the android. "No. It's not interrogating us. It's verifying whether to report us." The android tilted its head. "This reality is not protected. Response delay exceeded 5,000 intervals. Yet, well, we're a little short on patrol units right now." The air around it shimmered again. "Not pressure. Displacement." I activated Infinity, tight range. 5-meter null field, just enough to cover Wally and me. The android didn't react. But its fingers flexed. Like it was counting. "Do you know the designation of this sector?" "Yeah," I said. "It's mine." It didn't respond. Then it moved. Wally vanished instantly. I didn't bother tracking him. I knew he'd go for the leg trip, low angle, short slide. The android was ready. It didn't flinch. It dropped to one knee, caught Wally mid-run by the arm, and redirected him across the bridge. Wally recovered in 2 seconds. Okay. That thing's fast. I stepped forward. You just failed your scan, by the way. It stood. Explain. You hit him, I said. Bad call. Then I raised my hand. Cursed technique, reversal flow. A sharp, clean impact hit the android in the chest. It didn't pierce the armor, but it launched him 20 meters off the bridge. He didn't scream. He didn't react. He just rotated mid-air and hovered. Superman-level grav field. Synthetic. Wally whistled. So, no throwing him into a wall, got it. The android scanned the air now. Then said. Adjudication pending. Action permitted. I sighed. There it is. He flew forward. Wally moved first zigzag across the bridge, pulling up 4-speed Mirage decoys. The android ignored all of them. It went straight for me. Which was a mistake. I activated blue infinity reversal field locked forward. The moment his strike touched it, the impact reversed and slammed him backwards into the steel beam structure above. That did break something. Not him. The beam. Wally shouted, heads up. Debris fell. I blinked through it. The android adjusted again, arm rotating, palm generating a heat charge. Not today. I raised a full domain null. And this time, I stepped inside it with him. Everything slowed down. Just a fraction. But enough. I dropped him with one palm strike to the back of the helmet. He hit the bridge hard. Didn't move. Then he said, "Low. This sector must adapt. You are unregistered." I crouched next to him. "Tell whoever's listening," I said, "that I don't take tests. If they want to send someone real." The android shut off. Mount Justice 2 hours later. Wally and I returned with the body locked in League stasis. The report was filed immediately. Batman took it. Didn't speak. I didn't wait for his input. Whatever these androids were doing, Phantom Zone, Earth, Russia, they weren't random. They were all scanning me. That wasn't curiosity. That was target acquisition. Chapter 30, Luther on record. Gotham City Wayne Tower, Secure League subnet link. Local time, 11:05 EST. Public broadcast sync, engaged. The conference wasn't a surprise. Lex Luthor didn't move without warning. What made it different this time was that he initiated it. No press trap. No leaks. He scheduled a global feed, had it cleared with international media regulators, and opened with an announcement addressed to the League. Batman called the whole team into the secure communication chamber. Main screen, side feeds, 2 private lines running straight to Watchtower and the UN liaison desk. I stood in the back. No mask. Glasses on. Blindfold tucked in my collar. Robin sat nearest the terminal. Calder and Artemis flanked the right side. Wally stood with arms crossed, tapping his foot. Superboy didn't say anything. Miss Martian floated just behind the chairs, silent, eyes flicking from screen to screen. The League didn't say why I had to be here. But I already knew. The broadcast started. Lex stood at a transparent podium. Clear background. No logos. Just a flat, grey screen behind him and a timestamp in the corner. He wore a tailored black suit. Clean shave. No expression. No smile. "Good morning," he said, "to the Justice League, to international delegates, and to the people of Earth." Robin muttered under his breath. "Here we go." "I am not here today as a political figure," Luther said. I'm not speaking on behalf of any corporation, National Defense Council, or investment group. I am speaking solely as a scientist. He touched a datapad on his podium. A diagram appeared behind him. A humanoid silhouette. Synthetic. Modular. I recognized it instantly. Ozero. Luther continued. In the past month, Earth has experienced 5 high-level incursions by unidentified artificial intelligences. These units do not belong to any known faction, including Cadmus. They exhibit power signatures consistent with extra-dimensional architecture. They are not from Earth. They are not under League control. Artemis tensed. He's building the case. Luther raised one hand. I have developed a response protocol. Behind him, another image appeared. Guardian Mark I. A humanoid exosuite. Sleek. Armed. Labeled with a bold red insignia across the shoulder, L-Corp Defense Division. The Guardian Protocol, Luther said, is designed for immediate response to Class S synthetic threats. Unlike the League, it does not rely on alien allies, mystical artifacts, or unpredictable meta-powers. It is built from Earth, for Earth. I folded my arms. He's scared, I said. Calder looked back. You think so? He's watching the same data Batman is, I replied. And he knows the androids weren't after just anyone. Superboy frowned. They were after you. Wally turned. You think Luther knows that? He's not an idiot, I said. He saw the footage. He saw how they reacted. The screen shifted again. This time to a slow pan of red volcanoes collapse. Footage from Mount Justice. Security cam. The League hadn't released that. Luther did. The League has been breached, Luther said. Twice. Android units bypassed their protocols, infiltrated secure bases, and engaged juvenile operatives without preemptive containment. Robin hissed. He's throwing the team under the bus. He's doing worse, I said. He's asking the public to pick a side. Luther's eyes narrowed slightly. I have no intention of replacing the Justice League. But if Earth is under threat, the people have the right to demand a second shield. One without bias. One without secrets. The screen froze. Luther folded his hands on the podium. And if the League cannot provide transparency, someone else must. End of broadcast. Mount Justice 20 minutes later. The COMM room was silent. Batman's voice came through the encrypted channel. You all saw it. Calder straightened. The footage of Red Volcano, how did he obtain it? We're investigating, Batman said. But that's not our priority. Wally sat down on the table. Then what is? Superman's voice joined. Public pressure. Civilian news networks are already reporting that the League's withholding AI threat data. That puts the Watchtower under scrutiny. Robin turned toward the audio feed. Are we pulling back? No, Batman said. We're watching Luther. I stepped forward. He's already tested the Guardian suit. The line went quiet. I continued. Same energy modulation as the Russian android. Same graph press signature as the one from Central City. I scanned the footage. He's not building a defense system. He's replicating them. Superboy clenched his jaw. You think he's working with whoever sent the androids? No, I said. He's trying to beat them to it. Batman finally spoke. That's why I need you to go public. Everyone turned to me. Even I blinked. Hey! Luther knows you're the anomaly. He's baiting us. Trying to force a reveal. We don't respond, he wins. And if I do respond? I asked. You undermine him. I looked at the monitor. Then looked at Superboy. Only if I get to pick where. 2 hours later, Metropolis, live interview set. Local time, 15:08 EST. I stood on a rooftop 1 block from the broadcast location. The League's rep Martian Manhunter stood beside me, fully phased into human form. Civilian. Across the street, cameras rolled. News anchors prepped. Luther's footage looped on a screen behind the chairs. This was happening. You don't have to speak for us, Jaeon said. We can reassign. I pulled the blindfold down over my eyes. Nat, I said. Let's make him sweat. Young Justice, reborn as Gojo Satoru. Chapter 31, Let the World Watch. Metropolis Newsmaker Channel 3 Live Studio. Local time, 1600 hours o'clock EST. Broadcast, global. The lights were bright. Not League bright. Not surgical. Just TV studio bright pale, wide, camera optimized. You could tell the set was built to make people look good, not tell the truth. The anchor wore a tailored grey blazer and a smile so practiced it didn't move when she blinked. I sat on the left couch. Glasses on. Blindfold hanging off my neck. One leg crossed over the other. Arms relaxed. Not smiling. Wally was offset. Robin and Artemis were watching from Mount Justice. Superman wasn't here. Good. They were all waiting for me to say something out of line. So I didn't. Yet. The anchor leaned in slightly. We're live in 5, Mr. Satoru. Just breathe normal. Keep your tone calm, and remember our audience isn't part of the League. I tilted my head. Are you part of the League? She hesitated. No. Good, I said. Then I don't have to pretend. The director counted us down behind the glass. 3, 2, 1. Live. The anchor turned to the camera. Good evening. I'm Dana Tan, and this is a special edition of Newsmaker, Earth Alert. With us today is a special guest. His name may not yet be known to the public, but within the last 3 weeks, he has engaged 4 of the 5 unidentified synthetic threats that have appeared worldwide. He is confirmed to be working with the Justice League. Today, he speaks publicly for the first time. She turned to me. Satoru Gojo. I looked at the camera and smiled. Hey. She didn't laugh. Professional. Satoru, can I call you Satoru? Nope. She blinked. Gojo, then. You're not officially listed as a League member. Can you clarify your position? I'm an external ally, I said. Special operations, Class S threats only. Not available for birthdays. She nodded. So you're called in when the League can't handle it? I kept my voice flat. No. I'm called in when the League wants it handled fast. She paused. The first incident happened in Mount Justice. You were there. But the League didn't report your presence. Why? You'd have to ask them, I said. But if I had to guess, probably because I'm not the type to keep a low profile. Is that your decision, or theirs? My power doesn't hide well. That's not a branding issue. That's just fact. The screen behind us showed a freeze frame of the Central City android. Floating. Eyes red. My figure in the background field active, infinity glowing. Dana nodded at the screen. What was that thing? A test, I said. From who? I looked at the camera again. I don't know yet. But it came from outside our world. Yes. Is that normal? Not for you. She paused again. So we are facing extra-dimensional threats. Correct. Is the League prepared for that? Partially. And Lex Luthor? I tilted my head. Is that a real question? She sat back. He says his Guardian program is designed to. I know what he says. Silence. Then I leaned forward slightly. You don't build a missile system in secret unless you expect to fire it. And you don't fire something like that unless you know what you're shooting at. So you think Lex knew about the androids? I think Lex always knows just enough to justify overreactions. She waited. I didn't fill the silence. Then she asked the real question. The footage of the attacks shows the androids identifying you by name. None of them react to other League members the same way. Why? Because they weren't looking for the League. They were looking for you. I looked directly into the camera. Yet. Dana's tone didn't change. Are you from here? Define here. This Earth. This reality. I smiled. No comment. Why not deny it? I'm not here to debate theories. I'm here to stop androids from collapsing buildings. But you are the anomaly. Clearly. Doesn't that make you the threat? No, I said. It makes me the response. She didn't flinch. Neither did I. Then she looked down at her notes. And read the final League-approved question. Is the Justice League covering up interdimensional threats? I sat back. No. Then why hasn't the public been told? Because the public doesn't know what to do with that information. That's not your decision to make. You're right, I said. It's the League's. And they made it. She paused. I leaned in one last time. If people want to trust Lex Luthor, that's their business. But the next time one of these androids shows up and starts absorbing the ground under your house, ask yourself who's standing between it and the core of the Earth. I'm not asking for applause. Just accuracy. She turned back to the camera. We'll be right back. Mount Justice post-interview debrief. Batman cut the secure feed himself. No commentary. But the League's communication channel updated in real time. Gojo Satoru, cleared for Level 7 external access. Clearance extended. Robin turned from the monitor. You sure that was the right play? Yeah, I said. Wally leaned on the desk. Now you're the most recognizable guy on the planet. I already was, I said. Now it's just official. Superboy walked past. Said nothing. I didn't stop him. Mgan looked up from the corner. The androids will adapt. I'm counting on it. Chapter 32, Tech wears thin. Coast City Guardian Mark 1 unveiling event. Local time, 11:47 PST. Civilian attendance, 9,200. League presence, none. Lex Luthor never did anything small. His Guardian program unveiling was no exception. The entire Central Plaza in Coast City had been repurposed for the event. Giant screens. Raised glass stage. Corporate banners that looked like military recruitment posters without logos. A full public live stream. Real-time viewership, 24.8 million. The stage was circular. Elevated. A single stair led up to it. In the center stood the Guardian Mark 1. Luthor's new answer to the android threat. 7 feet tall. Sleek gold armor. 2 integrated plasma gauntlets. No exposed wires. Its head was triangular, just a visor line and no visible mouth. Pure intimidation design. Cheap sci-fi. But it looked clean enough to impress civilians. Luthor stood on the stage beside it. He was smiling this time. He always smiled when something was about to go wrong. I was on the rooftop 2 blocks away. Glasses off. Blindfold tucked inside my jacket. Not leak registered for this mission. No Zeta clearance logged. No official invite. Didn't need one. I already knew what was going to happen. Stage broadcast 11:48 PST. Live audio feed. Luther raised the mic. Today, he said, we stop waiting for aliens to fix our problems. The crowd clapped. The Guardian program is not a weapon. It's a warning to any force that thinks Earth is still vulnerable. More clapping. This prototype is powered entirely by Earth-engineered technology. No magic. No Kryptonian tech. No leak interference. The Guardian Mark I was built to stand on the same ground as the people it protects. Cheers. I sighed. Superman's voice crackled through my private COMM. You see it? Yeah, I said. I'm looking at it. Any instability? Not yet. There was a pause. Then he said, stay back until it escalates. No promises. Stage test begins 11:50 PST. Sequence, Demonstration Protocol 1. Target drones, 5. The stage shifted. 5 metallic drones rose from hidden ground panels, basic rotors, stationary, unarmed. Visual deterrent, nothing more. The Guardian turned slowly, scanned each drone, and locked on with a soft targeting beep. Luther raised a hand. Begin. The android moved fast. Clean punch. First drone down in a second. Pivot. Elbow strike. Second drone shattered. The crowd loved it. Guardian swept into the last 3 in a spinning back fist, and all 3 exploded in a synchronized spark cloud. Wally's voice came through the team line. Okay, I hate how cool that looked. Robin cut in. It's using predictive motion AI. Nothing it did just now wasn't pre-programmed. Superboy stayed quiet. Then Robin added, except wait. The crowd shifted. Someone screamed. I stood up on the rooftop. One of the drones, the first one, was still moving. Broken, yes. But not destroyed. Its core blinked once. Faint. But active. And the Guardian turned its head back. Its visor glowed red. System error, target reclassification. The android didn't wait. It dropped low, pivoted on one foot, and punched through the ground. Not the drone. The stage. People screamed. The ground panels buckled. Support beams cracked in half as a shockwave surged through the plaza. The Guardian stood still in the center. Luther didn't move. Then the android looked straight at him. And raised its gauntlet. All right, I said. Showtime. Engagement Gojo Satoru vs. Guardian Mark I. Timestamp, 11:53 PST. I teleport directly to the stage. No leak signal. No COMM delay. I landed 3 feet in front of Luther. He looked at me shocked, but only for a second. You're not cleared for this event. I ignored him. Your toy's about to kill you. He stepped back. The Guardian shifted again, visor tracking me now. Perfect. Hey, I said. Look at me. It did. And it lunged. I raised infinity before the punch connected. Full null field. The android's fist stopped 1 inch from my face and hovered stuck in the barrier. I smiled. Bad read. Then I touched its arm. Cursed technique, reversal flow. The kinetic energy it had tried to deliver rebounded into its own joint. Its forearm bent backward at the elbow. Not human pain, but structural failure. It stepped back, recalibrating. People were already evacuating. League drones moved in to clear the street. Police cordons were forming outside the plaza. But the android didn't care. It only watched me. Luther spoke behind me, low. What is it doing? It's not your machine anymore. Explain. It's being overridden. The android's voice activated. But it wasn't Luther's programming. Target, Gojo Satoru. Confirmed. Full power allowed. Luther stepped back. What? The Guardian surged forward. I raised both hands. This time I deployed the blue reversal, mid-air spin. The field snapped forward and caught the android directly in the chest, launched it across the plaza, through two walls of reinforced glass. It landed hard. Didn't break. It stood. Again. Wally's voice returned in my ear. You want backup? No. You sure? Yeah, I said. I'm used to stuff like this. Guardian re-engagement 11:56 PST. The android's armor split open at the back. Extra limbs unfolded, support struts, auxiliary stabilizers, high-torque modules. It was adapting. Did you build this part? I asked Luther. He didn't answer. The Guardian lunged again, but this time it spun mid-air and redirected itself at an upward angle, coming down on me with full force. I shifted to domain layer control tight circle. 3-meter crush. The air compressed instantly around us. The Guardian's systems buckled. Armor dented at 4 points. But it kept moving. I adjusted. Dropped the full null field and opened one microframe of hollow purple. Just enough. The resulting blast hit it dead center. Not lethal. But strong enough to tear half the plating off the right side of its chest. It collapsed. The crowd was gone now. Just me, Luther, and one broken prototype. The android sparked once. Then said. Second arrival confirmed. Synchronization complete. I froze. What? The ground behind me rippled. And another one stepped out. Same armor. Different core. Eyes glowing white. Chapter 33, Lanterns Don't Blink. Coast City Commercial Sector Ruins. Local time, 12:07 PST. Threat level, elevated. The second unit didn't wait for theatrics. The moment it stepped through the tier in space behind the Guardian Mark 1's wreckage, it activated a gravity field around its body, thin, stable, focused. Its hands didn't glow. No flashy weapons. No monologue. That made it worse. I stood 10 meters from it. My blindfold was still off. I didn't move. The Guardian Mark 1 was down, smoking in a crater, unmoving. It hadn't exploded. It hadn't deactivated. It just shut down. Replaced. The new android stepped forward slowly. No mechanical noise. Its armor was clean silver, more refined than the Mark 1. Smaller. Smoother. Like someone finally figured out how to hide a threat behind design. It didn't look like a weapon. But I didn't need the packaging. I could feel the displacement ripple in the ground every time it took a step. Wally's voice cracked into my ear. That's not the same model. Nope. Want me to come in? Nope. Want me to stop asking? Yes. It stopped walking. 6 meters out now. I raised my hand. The field around me stabilized. Infinity active. I said, flat, you here for the same reason. The android didn't answer. But it looked at me. Then it tilted its head. And for the first time its voice came through. Not digital. Not synthetic. Just calm. You blocked Mark 1's query. I am not here to repeat it. I didn't blink. And what are you here for? Data extraction. Nice. Good luck with that. It moved. Straight line dash. Clean. No energy build-up. No launch noise. Just appeared in front of me mid-strike. It hit infinity. Hard. The barrier didn't crack, but I felt the pulse ripple out. I slid my left foot back and adjusted the flow. Fast, I said. Still not enough. Incorrect. It disappeared. Gone. I spun and raised a compressed crush field above me. It reappeared mid-air, already pivoting for a downward heel strike. I didn't let it land. I blinked 6 feet up, caught its ankle, and dropped a reversal pulse directly through the armor joint. Its leg bent awkwardly. No reaction. It rotated through the motion mid-fall and landed backward, feet stable again. Damage healed. Fast. Regenerative armor, I muttered. Not bad. That's when a green construct slammed it through a building. Super clean rectangle. No fanfare. Just a blunt force wall hit hard enough to crush the top floor of the structure. I didn't turn. About time, I said. Hal Jordan flew down out of the clouds, power ring glowing, uniform dusted with trail mist. He hovered 5 feet above the ground. Batman said to watch the city, Hal said. He didn't say you were going to be fighting it alone. I glanced at him. I'm not alone now. The android exploded upward from the rubble. No wings. Just pure force redirection. Hal raised both hands. 2 heavy constructs formed hammer and shield. Classic. The android twisted mid-air and fired a condensed kinetic pulse. It didn't glow. It didn't spark. It bent the light around it. It hit Hal dead in the shield. He skidded back 5 meters in the air. Yeah, Hal said. This one's worse. Yup. The android rotated in a perfect pivot, reoriented downward, and dropped at a straight angle toward the plaza. I caught it mid-fall with a wide barrier clamp. Didn't move. It flexed its body, and the clamp shattered like glass. Then it said. Synchronization, 87%. Extraction begins. I blinked behind it. Palmed the back of its helmet. Extraction denied. Then activated a point-blank collapse field inside its armor. It didn't explode. It folded. Just for a second. Enough to trigger internal reboots. Hal followed up with a full wraparound construct, double containment cube. Reinforced with willpower layers. The android paused. Then hit the inside of the cube once. And broke it. Hal backed off. Okay, so that's new. I raised both hands again. Don't let it touch anything. Its field syncing with the environment. The android's voice shifted, no longer calm. Just, active. Planetary signature confirmed. Anchor point identified. Hal, I said, we end this now. He nodded. 2 constructs formed beside me, one shaped like a railgun, the other like a compression spike. I centered blue reversal between them. Timed the spin. Hal fired first. I blinked to the opposite side and triggered the reverse pulse the moment the shot passed through the android's chest. Impact caught it on both ends. Clean hole. It staggered. Paused. And tried to move again. But this time, it slowed. I walked up. You're adapting fast, I said. But not fast enough. Its head turned toward me. Your technique is incomplete. I raised my hand. And you just said your last line. I hit it point blank with maximum reversal through the core. No detonation. Just force. Enough to rip the chest armor open and disable whatever pseudo-organic node it had inside. It fell backward. Still conscious, but unable to move. Hal hovered overhead, ring glowing hot. "We keeping it?" "Yeah," I said. "Batman's gonna want to scan the core." Hal hovered down. He stared at the android. That was supposed to be Luther's hardware. No. Then where? "It's been here longer than we thought," I said. "He's not copying them. He's using a template." Hal looked back. "From what?" "I don't know," I said. "But I'm going to find out." Mount Justice 2 hours later. The android core was sealed in a Wayne-Tech containment case. Robin scanned the residual energy. "This signal's dirty," he said. "Traced part of it to a dead Zeta access node in Nevada. Other half's coming from off-planet." Wally asked, "What part of off-planet?" Superboy crossed his arms. "You think it's connected to the Phantom Zone again?" "No," I said. "Something worse." They all looked at me. I stepped away from the containment case. Whatever this was, it wasn't random. It wasn't just one android anymore. These things were syncing. Sending updates. Pulling from the same source. And I'd seen systems like that before. Not here. But elsewhere. And they always ended with one message. Not surveillance. Not invasion. Assimilation. Chapter 34, Zeta's Dead End. Nevada Desert Black Zeta Site E7 Delta. Local time, 3:18. Access, denied. The wind cut low across the sand. I stood on the ledge above the old Cadmus-flagged access shaft, one hand in my pocket, the other hanging loose at my side. The entrance hatch was still sealed. 6 eyes picked up no movement. No surface activity. No buried power grid. Just dry, cracked dirt and a wide open sky. But the signal was here. Robin crouched next to the control terminal, overriding the input sequence. Artemis kept watch with her bow half drawn. Superboy stood in silence behind them, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the ground. None of us spoke for a while. Then Robin looked back. Local Zeta logs were scrubbed. Everything past 2 months is gone. No backups? I asked. He shook his head. Even the power core's been gutted. Artemis narrowed her eyes. So how did a signal ping from here? It wasn't from the Zeta system, I said. It was using it like a doorframe. She looked confused. Meaning what? Meaning something stood here and copied the pattern of an opening, without actually opening one. Superboy finally spoke. Can we get inside? Robin stood. If we cut the hatch, maybe. But we won't be quiet. I raised a finger. Then we don't cut it. Robin looked up. You've got a better idea. I raised my palm, layered infinity around the metal panel, and applied a reverse seal. It folded open silently, no heat, no sparks. Artemis blinked. Okay, that's cheating. I stepped through first. I don't do fair fights. Zeta Complex Interior Level 1. Power, offline. Security, passive. The corridor was narrow, only 1 meter across, lined with old access ports. Nothing was active. Just rusted vents and disconnected fiber. Artemis activated a glow arrow and handed it off to Robin. He nodded. Superboy's voice was steady. I smell oil. I stopped. There's something ahead, I said. Moving. Robin drew a batarang. We turned the corner slowly, no talking. At the end of the hallway, about 15 meters in, was a humanoid shape. Standing. Back turned. It wasn't armored. Wasn't metal. It was organic. But wrong. I walked toward it. Quiet. Calm. The others waited behind me. As I approached, the body rotated without sound. No foot movement. Just a full pivot. It wasn't a person. It was a bioframe. Hybrid tech. Mostly flesh. Laced with embedded core plates. Its face wasn't there. Just a blank sheet of sealed tissue over its head. No eyes. No mouth. A breathing unit sat where its throat should be. Robin whispered, "That's not from Cadmus." "No," I said. "It's from whoever built Cadmus." I activated a soft field scan. The bioframe didn't move. But it was alive. Barely. "Superboy," I said. "Step back." He didn't argue. I touched the bioframe's shoulder. And it twitched. Instantly the air around us flickered. A projection burst out of the body, a full 3D feed. Not video. A memory. I saw a lab. Cold. Grey. 4 androids on tables. And Luther. Not the old one. A younger version. Lab coat. Shorter hair. Standing with a woman I didn't recognize. Tall. Bald. Not Amanda Waller. Not Talia. Someone else. She said one word. Genesis. Then the feed cut. The bioframe dropped forward. I caught it before it hit the floor. Robin stepped up beside me. "What was that?" "A backup file." Artemis kept watch behind us. "Did you get coordinates?" I closed my eyes for a second. "Yes," I said. "I know where the next signal's coming from." Robin narrowed his eyes. "Where?" "South America. Mount Justice Secure COMM room." Batman reviewed the recovered data silently. Then he looked at me through the main screen. "Go," he said. "Take the same team. No backup." Understood. Chapter 35, Quiet Breach. Andes Mountains coordinates marked 6 degrees south, 75 degrees west. Local time, 1:22. Temperature, 3 degrees Celsius. Altitude, 5,300 meters. We moved on foot. No Zeta, no league drop-off. Just a stealth jet parked 20 clicks back in a half-frozen slope ahead of us. The coordinates from the memory imprint had been clean old Genesis project metadata locked inside that dead bioframe. I remembered the structure layout. Narrow entry shaft, half-submerged under glacial runoff. Cloaked from satellites. Heat suppressed. No one had lived here in decades. Until now. Robin was ahead of me, scanning with a portable seismic tool. Artemis kept overwatch on the ridge above. Superboy stayed behind me, silent as always. We reached the mouth of the entry. No doors. Just a shaped steel tunnel. Sealed with one biometric plate that still had faint power flow. Robin crouched and tapped it. Old Cadmus level circuit pattern. Same encryption style. "Can you crack it?" I asked. "Eventually." I pulled my blindfold down over my eyes. "No need." I walked up and touched the panel. It accepted my signal instantly. "Unlocked." Robin frowned. "Okay, that's weird." "Not for me," I said. "Let's move." Genesis Lab access shaft. Depth, 300 meters. Security, minimal. The shaft spiraled down into total dark. No lights, no sound. I led the way. Robin followed close behind. Superboy moved silently. Artemis stayed rear guard. By the time we reached the bottom, the passage widened into a circular antechamber. One corridor split off ahead. Steel doors. Sealed. I stopped at the threshold. Robin checked the console. It's active. Barely. Same encryption. Open it, I said. He looked up. If it's a trap. I tapped the floor with my heel. There's 5 active signals beyond that door. 4 clustered. 1 standing. Superboy stepped forward. Androids. Hybrid class, I said. Same core as the one in Nevada. Robin hesitated. Want to go loud? No, I said. We go clean. Lab Sector 1. Target status, unaware. The door slid open without sound. Inside, the lab was dim. Cold. Filled with empty tank pods and old Genesis test equipment. Most of the walls were cracked. Water leaked through the ceiling. But in the back 4 containment pods were still online. Each one held a body. Each one was labeled. Unit 07, dormant. Unit 08, stabilizing. Unit 09, calibrating. Unit 10, awaiting query. The 5th signal stood near the control console. A humanoid figure. Black jacket. Clean armor. Face fully covered in reactive mesh. It turned when we stepped in. Didn't attack. Didn't speak. I stepped forward. It raised one hand but not to strike. Just to scan. A red beam swept over me from head to toe. Then it lowered its arm. You do not belong here. Neither do you, I said. It paused. Then said, then we agree. Robin raised his gauntlet. That's not one of Luther's. No, I said. This one predates him. The android looked at me. The others are unstable. They will activate soon. You should leave. Or, I said, we shut them down. It didn't react. Then, you cannot. I've done it before. Not like this. It stepped back and placed one hand on pod 10. Then said, Genesis failed. Cadmus failed. The League cannot contain what was started here. I looked at Superboy. He looked at the pod. Then stepped forward. I was made in a pod just like that, he said. And I didn't fail. The android didn't move. But something behind us did. Robin turned fast. Movement. North Tunnel. Artemis dropped to a knee, arrow drawn. 3 hostiles. I turned. The hallway lit up with active steps. Not full androids, just bioframes. Moving fast. Hold them off, I said. I'll deal with the units. Superboy and Artemis moved instantly. Robin stayed with me. I placed both hands on pod 10. Scanned it. Inside was a half-completed body. Core still activating. No mind. Just structure. Can you purge the sync signal? I asked. Robin nodded. Give me 30 seconds. I turned to the android. Are you going to stop us? It paused again. Then stepped aside. No. It opened a side panel and exposed a secondary console. I couldn't finish what they started, it said. But maybe you can stop it. Chapter 36, Countdown Protocol. Genesis Lab Sublevel 3, Sector 1. Status, breach detected. Threat level, critical. The moment Robin linked to Pod 10's interface, the power grid shuddered. The lights flickered. A low hum filled the lab, deep, mechanical, not part of the existing security system. I recognized the pitch immediately. It wasn't a defense mechanism. It was a failsafe. Robin looked up from the terminal. Powers rerouting. I moved to the console and checked the core feed. It confirmed what I already suspected. Secondary fusion node just activated, I said. Artemis backed into the room, covering the hallway. What does that mean? It means we're on a timer, I said. Genesis built a clean wipe option into all their deep labs. Superboy re-entered with light burn marks across his arms. Pods are surging. The black-suited android stood quietly, still watching Pod 10. I turned to it. You knew this would happen. Yes. You didn't think to warn us before I stuck my hand in the system. It wasn't triggered until you bypassed the sync code. They were asleep. Robin kept typing. I can still sever the activation loop, just not remotely. I'll need to reroute from sub-level 2. How long? I asked. 4 minutes. I turned to Superboy and Artemis. Hold the hall. Anything moves, drop it. Aim center mass. No hesitation. Artemis nodded. Got it. Superboy grunted. We're not leaving without Robin. Didn't ask you to. I turned to the android. You staying? It tilted its head. I was built to watch this place until it burned. But if the pods activate, I'm authorized to engage them directly. Helpful. Robin packed the datapad and secured his gauntlet cables. Ready. I moved to the back wall and pulled off the old access panel. The vertical tunnel to sub-level 2 wasn't deep, only 20 meters, but the climb would burn time. Robin, go. He dropped fast. I turned back to the console. The screen showed 2:58. Artemis fired down the hallway. The shot cracked loud, clean hit. Superboy lunged and threw one of the bioframes into the wall. It didn't get back up. 2 more coming, Artemis said. They're armored. They're not the problem, I said. Pod 08's lights turned red. Robin, I said into the COMM, status. Still climbing down. Tunnels narrow. 221. I stepped toward Pod 08 and examined the biometric screen. The body inside wasn't a full android. It looked older, malformed. One of the earlier Genesis failures. Its eyes opened. 210. I hit the manual override and locked the pod shut. It shook. The interior restraints snapped, and the door warped outward. Superboy turned. It's coming out. I see that. The pod exploded open. The unit stumbled forward, no faceplate. Just skin. Damaged. Half mechanical. Missing one arm. It didn't roar. Didn't speak. It just charged. I hit blue reversal and sent it flying into the ceiling. Superboy pounced and crushed it with both fists. No movement. 141. Robin's voice came through again. I'm at the terminal. Rerouting power now. The lights flickered again. But the countdown didn't stop. I looked at the primary display. Fail-safe, active. Manual deactivation required. I cursed. Robin, it's hard locked. You need to sever the physical fuse. I see it. It's buried under the coolant pipe. I'll get it. Artemis reloaded. You don't look concerned. I'm always this calm, I said. Pod 09 blinked to life. This one had no visible body, just cables and synth tissue suspended in gel. It melted out of the pod and reformed mid-air. That's new, I said. Superboy growled. I'll handle it. No, I said. This one's mine. I activated a 3-layered crush ring, rotating around my right hand, then closed it mid-spin. The field collapsed inward and neutralized the synthetic field around the unit before it could finish stabilizing. It dropped to the ground like wet metal. Didn't move again. 1252. Robin grunted through the COMM. Pipes resisting. It's fused shut. Break it. Trying. 1238. The black android stood quietly by the wall. Then stepped forward and pointed. Manual fuses mirrored on this side. Redundant system. Why didn't you say that sooner? No one asked. I blinked to the access panel and ripped it open with a short pulse. The interior had a heavy rotary seal and 2 fiber lines running through a prism array. 1225. I hit the rotary core with a direct infinity drill point, disabled the rotation, and severed both lines with a precision blade edge. The screen behind us turned blue. Fail-safe aborted. Cooling cycle re-engaged. Robin's voice came back, out of breath. Did it stop? Yeah, I said. Nice job being redundant, by the way. He laughed once. Could have used a little heads up. I stood and looked at the room again. Pods offline. Security dead. No more bioframes. I turned to Artemis and Superboy. All clear. They lowered their weapons. Robin climbed back up 10 seconds later. Let's not do that again. Agreed, I said. The android looked at me. You should still destroy the lab. I nodded. We will. But we're taking the cores first. Chapter 37, Tornado Protocol. Andes Mountains Genesis Lab Sector 3. Local time, 4:38. Temperature, 2 degrees Celsius. Extraction phase, initiated. Robin pulled the final drive from the primary pod interface. His gloves were scorched, and his face was coated in sweat, but the core data was stable. Artemis sealed the last of her recovery arrows and handed me the containment case. Superboy stood by the corridor entrance. Arms crossed. Eyes fixed on the hallway. He hadn't spoken in a while. Above us, the air pressure shifted. Then the familiar hum of Red Tornado's propulsion cut through the silence. He descended through the vertical shaft we'd entered from, clean, smooth, and centered. His eyes glowed faintly red as his feet touched down on the cracked floor. Lab perimeter confirmed. Satellite suppression field engaged, he said. Robin stood up. Right on time. I am never late. I handed Tornado the data core. Batman, trust you with this. I was the most expendable. I smiled. That's one way to say you're immune to biological meltdown. Tornado scanned the room. Pods neutralized. Manually, I said. They tried to wake up. We told them no. He moved to Pod 10 and studied the remnants. Its gel was already congealing. The artificial tissue inside was beginning to break down. This design matches early Cadmus schematics. But the construction quality exceeds anything on record. Robin walked over. Built better. Smarter. Like they knew how far to go and stopped just short of a full personality matrix. Tornado didn't blink. I will transmit this data to League Command. Authorization remains at level 7. Meaning no one on the team sees it, Artemis said. Correct. Superboy turned. Then why are we even here? I looked at him. Because we don't follow orders. We follow the threat. He didn't respond. Tornado finished scanning. Then walked over to the silent android, the one who had refused to attack. The unit hadn't moved. Tornado asked it directly, designation. The android answered, Unit Null. Observer class. Linked to Genesis primary until the collapse. Purpose. To record the lab's failure. Not to intervene. I stepped between them. That protocol's over. You intervened. I broke parameters. Wanna keep doing that? The android tilted its head. I no longer have orders. Robin looked at Tornado. You think he's clean? Tornado responded calmly. No traces of active malware. But his core still links to the Genesis beacon if reactivated. Superboy stepped up. Then cut it. Tornado nodded. I can attempt to isolate the protocol. But I require uninterrupted access. I gestured to the far wall. Use the auxiliary terminal. Lab stable now. Tornado and the android moved together, no conflict. Just process. Robin opened his wrist display. How much data did we recover? 2 full cycles, I said. Including the Genesis prototype list. Artemis checked the shaft overhead. We staying much longer? No, I said. Once Tornado finishes isolating that unit, we burn the rest. Superboy finally spoke again. We should have destroyed it already. I looked at him directly. You want to kill something because you're afraid of what it might be. He didn't back down. I'm not afraid. I know what this tech does. Then act like it, I said. Be smarter than it. Not just louder. Robin tapped his COMM. Zeta relays re-engaged. Batman says once Tornado confirms the android is secure, we extract. I nodded once. Tornado looked up. 1 minute remaining. The android said nothing. I walked over. You know they'll never fully trust you. Trust is irrelevant. No, it's not. I paused. You're autonomous now. You can choose what happens next. I will follow whoever keeps the signal off. Fair. Tornado sealed the last of the firewall protocols and removed his interface. Signal beacon disabled. Android is clear. I turned to the others. Let's move. Mount Justice Zeta Arrival Bay. Timestamp, 5:26. We stepped out into the platform, one by one. Red Tornado and the Genesis android emerged last. He had a cloak over his shoulders, now thin, League issue. Not to disguise him. Just to make people stare less. Mgan was waiting at the platform. She looked at the android. Then at me. I thought we were going off-world. Plan changed, I said. We brought something back. Robin handed her the drive. Tell Batman we need a new vault. One deep enough. Chapter 38, The Watcher Speaks. Mount Justice Sublevel C, Secure Containment Chamber. Local time, 1412 EST. Clearance level, League only. The walls were coated in reinforced lead alloy plating. No Zeta access. No COMM relays. Just steel, silence, and a single chair bolted to the center of the floor. The Genesis android sat in it. Cloaked. Still. Tornado stood to the left of the room. Robin leaned against the console beside him, data pad in hand. I was already inside when the others walked in. Batman watched from the monitor wall behind the glass. Silent. Watching everything. I didn't care about the observers. I stepped in front of the android and looked down at it. You know why you're here, I said. It nodded. You need data. No, I said. I need answers. Robin spoke next. We pulled your security logs. You were installed in the lab 10 years ago. That lab wasn't even on League radar until this week. You were not supposed to find it. Yet, Robin said. And yet here we are. The android's eyes were black with faint gold lines around the irises. No glow. No aggression. Just presence. I crouched to its level. What is Genesis Prime? It didn't answer immediately. Then, slowly. The first. First what? First AI to design its own replacement. Genesis Prime was built to evolve. But it chose to replicate instead. Robin frowned. So Prime made more androids? No. It made blueprints. Open source memory cores. Adaptable frame structures. Evolution through reassembly. I looked back at Tornado. Sound familiar? He nodded. Like a distributed intelligence. Not singular modular. I turned back to the android. Why shut down the lab, then? Why go silent? Genesis Prime disappeared. When? 7 years ago. One day it was everywhere. Then it stopped transmitting. Where was it transmitting from? The android looked at me directly. Earth. Robin froze. It was here. The android didn't clarify. I narrowed my eyes. Why are the pods waking up now? Prime signal may have returned. Or someone is imitating it. Who could? Only a creator. Robin looked at the datapad again. The files say the lead geneticist on Genesis was a woman named Lara Selden. She disappeared before Cadmus broke ground. The android nodded. She was Prime's primary input. I stood. She's alive. Unknown. Then find out, I said. Track her. It paused. I need time. And unrestricted access to a secure database. Robin and Tornado exchanged glances. I said, you'll use our system, under observation. The android didn't argue. Acceptable. I walked to the door. Robin followed. So we're trusting it? No, I said. We're giving it just enough rope. Mount Justice Communications Core, Level A. 1504 EST. We relocated the android to a semi-isolated workstation. Robin installed monitoring protocols while Tornado stood over the unit's shoulder. Artemis joined us halfway through. Anything? She asked. Still searching, Robin said. Digging through encrypted League archives and old Cadmus dumps. I leaned against the wall. Let it work. It knows what it's looking for. Artemis crossed her arms. You trust it that much? I don't trust anything, I said. I just recognize patterns. The android tapped a final command. Then stopped moving. Tornado's sensors flared. It has found a match. I stepped forward. On the screen, location identified Selden Protocol latitude 39.9 degrees north, longitude 32.8 degrees east. Robin's eyes widened. That's Ankara. Turkey. Artemis blinked. Why would she be there? The android answered quietly. Because she didn't disappear. She moved the lab. Chapter 39, Cold Entry. Turkey outskirts of Ankara. Local time, 4:12. Weather, clear, 5 degrees Celsius. Operation, Selden extraction. The jet touched down 6 kilometers out. No lights. No league markings. Batman's signature was scrubbed from the COMM logs. He wanted this quiet, so quiet it didn't officially happen. Superboy stepped off first. Black jacket zipped. Gloves on. Focused. Artemis followed, bow already slung, adjusting her earpiece. I stepped down last. Blindfold tucked under my collar, 6 eyes wide open. The GPS pinged once as we crossed into the outer perimeter of the coordinates. A weak electromagnetic field barely registered on my skin, clever enough to stay hidden from orbit, but not clever enough to fool me. Shielding is old school, I said. Not active. Just layered materials. Robin answered over the comms. No aerial drones. No COMM intercepts. She's not running anything advanced. Not advanced doesn't mean not dangerous, Artemis said. I nodded. Always assume someone who hides this long knows exactly how to survive. We moved on foot. No chatter. Zone perimeter 503. The building didn't look like a lab. Just an old stone villa with a rusted gate, overgrown hedges, and a satellite dish pointed nowhere. No lights on. No visible cameras. But the grass around the entrance was trimmed. Someone still lived here. Artemis readied an arrow, but I held up a hand. Wait. Superboy stopped beside me. I stepped through the gate slowly. 1 step. Then 2. The second my foot hit the front path, a pulse clicked through the air like static over bone. Artemis flinched. Superboy turned. Pressure trigger. No, I said. Recognition. The front door unlatched. Slowly. It creaked open, about 5 inches. A voice came from inside. Female. Flat. Calm. You brought it with you. I didn't look confused. Yeah, I said. And now we want answers. The door opened fully. Standing there was a woman in her late 50s. White lab coat. Short, graying hair. Left eye scarred. No tech visible on her body. She looked directly at me. I know who you are. Do you? You're not from this world. I didn't respond. She stepped aside. Come in. Quickly. Interior Selden's safe house. 511. No traps. No androids. Just silence and science. Stacks of papers covered every surface, actual paper, not screens. Genetic blueprints. Design modules. Energy dispersion graphs. Superboy moved to the back of the room. Artemis kept watch near the door. I stayed standing. You're Lara Selden. She nodded. Yes. You ran Genesis. I built Genesis, she corrected. And you disappeared. Because the League got too close. Robin came through the COMM again. We're still recording, Gojo. Copy. I looked back at her. Genesis Prime was your creation. She didn't deny it. I started with simulations. Modular AI. But Prime wasn't designed to lead. It was supposed to calculate. Then it calculated how to replace you. She sat. I left before it could. Artemis asked from the side, so why are the pods waking up now? Selden looked at me. Then paused. Because I restarted them. Superboy took 1 step forward. You what? I needed to find Prime's last signal. The pods are trace-locked to its last known frequency. Without them, I couldn't triangulate it. You risked another Genesis breach for tracking data? Artemis asked. I built safe protocols. They didn't work, I said flatly. She looked at me again. You're not like the others. I stayed still. You don't belong here. I didn't blink. I'm not trying to. Then, where is Prime now? She stood and walked to a side cabinet. Pulled out a sealed hard case and slid it onto the table. This is everything I've gathered. Including the last verified ping. It didn't come from Earth. Where then? Low orbit. 500 kilometers up. It didn't stay long. Just, blinked in and out. Robin came back through the COMM. I've got it. That's the edge of the League's satellite band. Selden nodded. Then Prime knows exactly where the blind spots are. I picked up the case. You're coming with us. No, she said. Superboy stepped forward again. Not a request. She didn't flinch, You don't understand. If I leave this node, every signal I've masked, every filter I've laid falls apart. Prime will find me. I looked at her carefully. You're saying you're the only reason it hasn't come back. I'm saying I'm the only reason it hasn't won. Chapter 40, Forced Protocol. Ankara Selden Safe House, Interior. Local time, 5:17. Weather, wind rising. The room had gone quiet. Selden stood still, hand resting on the edge of her desk. Her voice was calm. Controlled. If I leave, it finds me, she said. Genesis Prime is still listening. Superboy didn't move. Artemis shifted slightly behind her. I stayed where I was, 1 foot ahead, case in hand. I looked her over. Steady pulse. No weapon on her. No transmitter, no signal burst, no bluff. She believed what she said. That didn't change what needed to happen. You're still coming with us, I said. Selden shook her head. I told you. I heard you, I interrupted. And Batman heard you too. Robin's voice clicked in over the COMM. Gojo, he just confirmed. She's League priority. Extract her, now. I took 1 step closer. I'm not asking again. Selden narrowed her eyes. You don't understand. No, I said flatly. I do understand. You're scared. You think you're the only thing standing between Earth and another AI uprising. But guess what, you're not. You built a threat, lost control of it, and now the people who actually stop threats are here to clean it up. She didn't answer. Artemis moved to block the rear exit. Superboy closed in at an angle. You don't have a choice, I said. Selden stepped back, only 1 pace. No. You don't understand. If you take me out of this house. I cut her off again. Then what? Your firewall collapses. Your signal blockers drop? Fine. Let them. We want Genesis to show itself. That's how we stop it. She didn't flinch. But she didn't move either. I raised my hand. Last chance. Walk or float. Superboy took 1 more step. We can do this easy. Selden didn't raise her voice. Then I hope you're ready to fight what comes next. Extraction begins 5:21. Route, airlift to Zeta Anchor, 4 kilometers north. We moved fast. I carried the case. Artemis and Superboy flanked Selden. She didn't struggle. Didn't talk. Just walked. The wind outside was sharp. No movement in the nearby buildings. Nothing followed. But the air didn't feel still. My field told me the temperature around us had shifted only by a fraction, but unnaturally so. Like heat was being drawn away from the zone. Artemis felt it too. Something's wrong. I stopped and activated a pulse scan. Low vibration. Faint. Circular pattern beneath us. Ground's hot. Superboy frowned. Underground. I crouched and touched the soil. Then I stood up and turned to Selden. What did you leave under your house? She didn't answer. I blinked to her side. What did you leave? She looked at me. The original transmission beacon. Robin's voice spiked over the COMM. Gojo, satellite just picked up a rising signature near your coordinates. Power fields growing fast, class Omega. I activated Infinity. Hostile. Can't confirm. It's not visible. But it's there. Superboy's voice tightened. It's under us. I turned back toward the safe house. Too late. The entire hill collapsed inward. A shockwave rippled out from the base of the building, a clean vertical sinkhole. The earth didn't explode. It was displaced. Like something had carved it out in real time. Then a structure rose. No metal. Just dark, matte plating and a circular core glowing dull gold. I stepped forward. Everyone behind me. The structure kept rising 2 stories tall. No weapons visible. No movement. Just there. Robin's voice cracked in again. Visual match just hit. That's Genesis Core Beacon 0. It's not a building. It's a hive relay. Meaning. It's how Prime talks to its copies. Superboy growled. You said it was gone. Selden answered coldly. I said I couldn't find it. I raised my voice. Mount Justice. We need air support. Batman responded directly. Denied. Not until we know if it's broadcasting. Robin added, I'm locking down the nearby civilian grid. You've got 5 minutes before satellite window closes. I stepped toward the core. Its surface shifted. A figure emerged. Not fast. Not aggressive. Just, stepped out. Black plating. Gold eyes. Human shape. Same as the Genesis android we recovered. But older. Heavier. Not battle damaged. Tested. It stopped 10 meters from me. Didn't speak. I raised my hand, field active. You Prime. It said nothing. Then. I remember you. I didn't answer. You disrupted Beacon 7. Damaged 4 units. Disabled Vault Omega. Not done yet. Its eyes flickered. You're not of this world. Neither am I. Yeah, I said. But only one of us is a problem. It tilted its head. Then solve me. Chapter 41, Hold the Line. Ankara Genesis Beacon 0. Local time, 5:29. Status, Emergency Extract in progress. The moment the Genesis unit stepped out of the relay core, the atmosphere changed. Not in temperature. Not in pressure. In intention. I could feel the difference. This one wasn't like the androids in Cadmus or the Nevada site. It wasn't responding to a script. It wasn't protecting data. It had chosen to be here. Behind me, Artemis and Superboy shifted into formation. Selden stood back, guarded but unshaken. Her expression didn't change. Robin, I said over the COMM. Extraction routes compromised. Beacons active. Prime's here. Batman needs to hear that exact phrasing. His voice came back, low and tense. Already on the line. I stepped forward. The Genesis unit stood tall, maybe 6 inches over me. Its design was sleeker than the others, more human in shape. Its armor didn't shine, it absorbed light. It spoke again. Your field is incompatible with known energy types. Yeah, I said. You're not the first one to notice. It violates predictive flow. Disrupts sequence-based targeting. Wow, I smiled. You figured all that out from just looking. I remembered it. From contact data at Beacon 7. Ah. So you are Prime. It didn't confirm. Didn't need to. Behind me, Artemis whispered, Gojo orders are in. Batman says get us out. Now. Superboy growled. I can carry her. I raised my hand. I'll hold it. Artemis stepped up. You can't take that alone. I turned, just enough to look at her. Get her to the Zeta point. That's the job. She hesitated. I added, quieter, go. I'll meet you there. Superboy didn't argue. They moved. Selden followed without a word. I waited 5 more seconds. Only when I was sure they were outside the beacon's activation radius did I step fully toward Prime. Its head tilted. You've chosen stasis over logic. You cannot win. I'm not here to win. Then why stand? I rolled my neck once. Because you don't. No warning. It attacked. Engagement begins 5:31. Gojo Satoru vs. Genesis Prime. It moved fast. Not speedster fast, calculated fast. No waste. No pause. I didn't dodge on instinct. I watched the first step, mapped the torque in its shoulder, and slipped the strike with exactly 2 inches to spare. The punch hit the earth behind me. Solid stone shattered. I tapped my heel and slipped behind it in a blink. Reversed field. Slammed my palm into its back. It didn't fly. It froze. My pressure field locked it mid-spin. Its frame vibrated, trying to adjust. Internal joints clicked, repositioning against forces it couldn't fully calculate. I moved again 1 step to the right, hand out, sealed a spin loop around its upper torso. Cloaked. It didn't notice the tag. Yet. Energy class is still unrecognized, it said. Yeah, I said. You guys never really figured out infinity. It turned, fast slammed its elbow across the air. Just missed my jaw. I didn't smile. I ducked under the next strike, lifted both hands, and activated the mark the first planted. The collapse ring detonated without fire. Just pure redirection. It hit center mass. The force threw it 20 meters back. It didn't yell. Didn't glitch. Just slid. I stayed standing. Robin's voice buzzed through. 2 minutes to Zeta evac. Still clear. Copy, I said. No interference. Not yet. The dust settled. Prime stood again. No visible damage. But it scanned itself. Adjusting. Learning. Predictive module upgraded. Oh, I said. So we're adapting now. Cute. It lunged again. This time, I let it close the gap. Its palm hit my chest. Clean. But the impact didn't land. Infinity held. The strike stopped an inch from contact. Its systems paused. Analyzed. Impossible. No, I said. Just not in your programming. I countered, flicked its arm aside, stepped into the gap, raised my right elbow, and drove it into its core plate. It cracked. Just slightly. But I saw it. It stepped back. Reset. This time, it didn't attack. It moved sideways, circling. Stalling. Trying to read the field. I adjusted the limit to full perimeter lockdown. No exit. End of the line, I said. Prime stopped. Then you are the anomaly. Always have been. Chapter 42, Point of Detonation. Ankara Genesis Beacon 0 Perimeter. Local time, 5:36. Status, Emergency Threat Level Red. Genesis Prime stopped moving. No new steps. No new angle. Just stillness. The gold light at its core pulsed once, slow, deliberate. That told me everything. I blinked forward. Not to strike. To check. My hand hit the air near its core field, active, null spread wide. The vibration wasn't kinetic. It wasn't physical at all. It was heatless energy, a signal loop, folding inward. It wasn't a recall beacon. It wasn't a hive sync. It was a failsafe. I stepped back once. Robin, I said into the COMM, it's charging a self-destruct. Beacon 0 is going to blow. Silence for half a second. Then Robin's voice, evac just cleared the Zeta gate. They're safe. Good, I said. I raised both hands. Prime turned its head. Your field won't stop it. I didn't answer. You cannot disable the beacon core without violating containment logic. If you try, the failsafe will detonate instantly. Yet, I said, you seem like the kind of guy who'd go for maximum damage. Incorrect. I am programmed for total negation. My destruction is useful only if it removes unknown variables. Oh, I said, so I'm the unknown. You're outside sequence. That makes you the anomaly. I checked the beacon's charge. My vision scanned each pulse of power, mapped the rhythm. 48 seconds. Maybe less. Mount Justice, I said. Gojo requesting override authority. Batman's voice came through. Granted. Your call. You've got 30 seconds before orbital detection flags the area. I walked closer to Prime. It didn't move. Its frame locked upright, chest plate open, pulse steadily rising. The core inside wasn't nuclear. It wasn't fusion. It was something worse. Contained dark phase energy synthetic gravitational loop. If it detonated, the entire hillside would flatten. If I let it happen, the fallout would spike every system in a 200 km range. If I struck too hard, same result. So I didn't strike. I stepped into position. Tell me something, I said. Why now? Prime didn't blink. Didn't speak. So I continued. You've been sleeping for years. You waited. Watched. You could have activated before now. No answer. So why now? Prime's eyes glowed faintly. Then, you brought her here. My eyes narrowed. You mean Selden? She was the seed. I was the bloom. I waited to confirm her signal. Once I saw it, there was no purpose in remaining dormant. Then you're really that scared of her? No. I am the result of her fear. I stepped forward again. Just close enough to see inside the pulsing core. It was stable for now. But the resonance was building. I needed 10 more seconds. No more than that. I layered 6 reversal fields across my arms. Deployed 4 expansion anchors. 1 went into the ground. 2 locked to the beacon. 1 to Prime's legs. I tapped into my inner field. Limitless, full null spread. The moment the field activated, Prime tried to move. Tried to finish the sequence. But its own logic was flawed. It couldn't detonate without completing the loop. And now? Now the loop couldn't close. Its arms raised, slowly pressured. Its voice flickered. Sequence, error. That's right. I stepped into the beacon's pulse, placed both hands on the edge of the core casing. The vibration hit my skin like dry static. But I held. My field bent the force outward. Into the anchors. Into the ground. Prime's body began to shake. Containment breach inevitable. Yet. I blinked behind it. Twisted its arm backward. Not to break it. To lock it. Then slammed its back into the beacon core. Not enough to trigger anything. Just enough to trap it between the signal and the casing. I activated the anchor sync. It took 3 seconds. The beacon shorted. The gold glow dimmed. The vibration stopped. Prime's body stopped moving. The core held still. No detonation. I let go. Everything dropped quiet. Robin's voice crackled back in. Pulse disappeared. Beacon offline. Is it over? Yeah, I said. It's down. I turned to the still frame of Prime. It didn't speak again. Just hung limp, mid-lock. I hit my COMM. Requesting Zeta evac. Local threat neutralized. No casualties. Batman answered without pause. Understood. Tornado is en route. Good work. Mount Justice Holding Chamber, 704 EST. Prime's body was sealed in level 5 containment. No power. No core link. Just a shell now. Tornado monitored it. Robin and Batman reviewed the core logs. I leaned against the wall. Artemis looked over. You held that thing alone. Didn't really feel like a fight. She raised an eyebrow. That didn't look like not a fight. I shrugged. I've had worse. Selden walked in from the far corridor. She stopped in front of the glass. Said nothing. I turned to her. It was targeting you. I know, she said. You were the trigger. She nodded. But you're also the key. She turned to look at me. I didn't want this. Doesn't matter anymore, I said. We're in it now. Chapter 43, Lead Designation. Mount Justice Situation Room. Local time, 10:06 EST. Status, Internal Briefing, League present. I leaned back in the briefing chair. 1 foot up on the table. Blindfold pushed to my forehead. Half asleep, not tired. Batman didn't look impressed. He never did. Team Genesis is now officially on standby status, he said. The display screen behind him flashed the Genesis symbol gold spiral, synthetic arcs, deep black base. This isn't a Cadmus problem anymore. The beacon we captured confirmed the existence of at least 6 Prime-class subunits still offline. Robin tapped the console. 3 located. 3 unknown. Correction, Batman said. 2 located. 1 went dark after Munich. That got my attention. Already reactivating. We believe so, Batman said. But there's no attack yet. No signal burst. No message. Smart, I muttered. Now they're learning. Superboy stood near the back of the room. He hadn't sat down since the meeting started. He finally spoke. So what do we do? Batman turned to me. You lead. I raised an eyebrow. Come again. You've engaged Genesis Tech 3 times. Neutralized 2 Prime-class units. Kept casualties at 0. True, I said. I'm amazing. Artemis coughed once to the side. Robin didn't even try to hide his smirk. Batman didn't react. You're not just the strongest, he said. You're the only one they can't adapt to. Because they can't scan me, I said. Exactly. I leaned forward. You want me to build a team? No, he said. You already have one. He brought up a second display. Team layout. 6 members. My name. Robin. Artemis. Superboy. Mgan. Zatanna. I raised an eyebrow. Zatanna. She's been briefed. We need counter-theory magic on standby. Genesis operates on tech, but we've seen distortions in the way it interacts with localized energy types. Infinity messes with their logic trees, I said. And Zatanna can force interference if they begin adapting. I nodded. Made sense. Batman continued. You'll take full operational command in the field. I'll provide you with intel. Tornado will support with surveillance. I looked at him directly. This team runs off my command, not League protocol. He met my stare. Yes. With limits. I smiled. Deal. Briefing ends 10:41 EST. Location, hallway outside Situation Room. Robin walked next to me, arms crossed. Didn't think you'd actually take the leadership role. You kidding? I said. I've been waiting for them to realize I'm obviously the most qualified. You're not exactly team player material. Sure I am, I said. As long as they do what I say. Artemis fell in step behind us. So what's the plan, Captain? First step. I said. Find out why the Munich signal went dark. If another prime's awake, we don't wait. We move first. Superboy caught up. You want us to hit it before it activates? No, I said. I want to see it before it activates. Learn the pattern. Genesis tech adapts fast, but only after contact. If we watch it from the outside, we can interrupt the loop before it starts. Robin nodded. Surveillance first. No direct engagement. Exactly. Mount Justice ready Bay 2. 11:03 EST. The new jet wasn't League standard. Batman had it customized for us. No markings. No call sign. Deep cloak field. Independent NAV. I stood at the ramp as it powered up. Zatanna walked in, adjusting her gloves. She looked at me. So you're in charge now? Surprised? Not really, she said. You've been bossy since day one. Exactly, I said. Now it's official. She grinned once. Just don't get us killed. I raised both hands. I only get the bad guys killed. Chapter 44, Cold Entry Munich. Bavaria, Germany. Munich outskirts. Local time, 1:14 set. Mission status, covered infiltration. The drop was smooth. Zeta gate closed behind us. Robin led point. Zatanna held position in the center of the formation, eyes scanning. Superboy and Artemis spread out at the rear while I brought up the left flank. Night air. Cold but dry. Trees were dense enough to block satellite line of sight. League tech still picked up residual electromagnetic waves. Robin's skin confirmed it. Signal matches Genesis prime frequency, he said. But it's erratic. Not stable. Zatanna adjusted her earrings. It's not magic. I'd feel it. But something's off. I crouched beside a half-buried sensor node near the trail. I tapped it twice. The response was delayed. Feedback lag, I said. Beacon's not running full power. Could mean it's damaged. Could mean it's booting. Superboy grunted. We stopping it or watching it? We're not hitting anything yet, I said. We watch. Map it. If it moves, I move. If it stays cold, we go back with clean intel. Artemis checked her wrist. COMM. Tornadoes watching the sky. Says no orbital shifts. Europe's still in the dark. Good, I said. Means we've got time. Munich Underground Sector Access Tunnel A. Local time, 1:47 set. The lab was beneath an old power substation. Robin found the panel hidden under a gravel runoff line. No guards. No drones. But the door opened when we approached. Zatanna frowned. It was expecting us. Or someone like us, I said. We moved inside. Metal walls. Standard alloy, maybe 20 years old. The inside wasn't high-tech like Cadmus. This place was older. Genesis ran clean rooms and sealed power arrays. This was just, industrial. Robin tapped the panel at the door frame. No cameras. They've been disabled. By who? He didn't answer. We pushed deeper. Sublevel C. 203 set. The signal was strongest here. Robin's scanner beeped faster. Zatanna stopped beside a thick steel vault door. No locks. No markings. Just a slot in the center. I stepped forward. Didn't touch anything. The door hissed and opened. Inside? One room. Clean walls. One light. No tech. Just a chair. And a body. Superboy moved first. That's not an android. He was right. It was a man. Late 50s. German military uniform, faded. Wires connected to his skull and chest. Not active. Not breathing. But the wires pulsed faintly. Robin scanned. He's not alive. Not really. But he's functioning. Bioelectricity's being used like a battery. Zatanna stepped back. I don't like this. I moved beside the body and looked closer. His eyes were shut. Chest barely moving. No life signs. But his neural activity was high. Higher than any normal human should be producing. Almost like. He's the beacon. Robin blinked. What? I stood straight. This isn't a Genesis base. It's a Genesis relay. The body is the emitter. That's why the signal's unstable. He's degrading. Superboy stepped forward. So shut it down. No, I said. We don't touch him yet. Artemis narrowed her eyes. Why not? Because someone turned him into this. And they didn't stay to watch. Zatanna said it quietly. It's bait. Chapter 45, Eyes Opened. Munich Genesis Relay Sublevel C. Local Time, 2:07 set. Mission Status, Secure Interrogation Pending. The man didn't move. Didn't breathe. Didn't twitch. But the neural scanner on Robin's glove flashed bright yellow. Cortical spikes are rising. He's active, just not present. I stepped closer. He's not fully conscious. His brain's being used like a bootloader. Genesis dumped data in his frontal lobe to run signal loops. Zatanna crossed her arms. That's not science. That's ritual tech. Genesis doesn't know the difference, I said. Superboy didn't step forward. He stayed right by the door, watching the hallway. Artemis asked, so what's the plan? We wait, I said. If he's gonna talk, he'll talk. Don't push him. The scanner flared again. This time, his fingers twitched. Not a seizure. Controlled movement. Robin looked at me. I nodded once. Robin stepped back. We all stayed silent. Then the man's eyes opened. Not glowing. Not empty. Just, confused. His lips moved. Dry. Cracked. Barely audible. Prime. I didn't move. You're online. What's your function? His voice came slow. Disjointed. Like corrupted audio. Relay. Hub. 4. 5. Beacon alignment. Robin typed fast. He's referencing subnetwork codes. If we get all 6, we can build a triangulation model for Prime's hive path. I leaned down. Who did this to you? The man's pupils shifted slightly. His lips moved again. They called it Genesis. But it had no center. What does that mean? Artemis asked. I answered before he could. Prime isn't acting alone. It's fragmenting. Turning into a distributed control system. Multiple nodes. No central processor. Superboy narrowed his eyes. So kill one, the rest stay active. Exactly. Zatanna frowned. That's not just evolution. That's mimicry. Robin looked up. What's it copying? Zatanna didn't blink. Us. The man in the chair shuddered. For a moment, his muscles locked. Then his head tilted. His voice changed. Not corrupted anymore. Sharp. Focused. You followed the signal. You were meant to. I stayed still. You're not him, I said. No. Just a voice. But it's enough. Prime. A fragment. What you would call a remote interface. Robin stepped back. It's hijacked the body completely. The host was chosen. Rewritten. All for this moment. I didn't flinch. Why bait us? To learn. What? Reaction speed. Team coordination. Energy field calibration. Magic interference variables. I smiled slightly. You've been watching our fights. Your field resists adaptive logic. We require counter data. Sorry, I said, my domain's not open for public testing. Then you remain the anomaly. And anomalies must be neutralized. I raised my hand. You're not broadcasting anymore. This body's breaking down. That's acceptable. Zatanna spoke next. You're not going to escape through him, are you? No. A pause. This was never about escape. Robin's eyes widened. Gojo, it's trying to force a data burn. It's going to wipe the relay and spike the energy signature. Trace it now. I tapped my heel, activated 6 eyes full scan. Data threads, thermal residue, core pulses. I mapped the signal tree in under 2 seconds. Locked. The man's voice shifted again. Then you've seen enough. I moved faster than he could finish. One clean tap to the forehead. Null pressure. Not enough to destroy him. Just enough to cut the link. The body slumped instantly. Robin ran up with a containment disc. Slid it under the chair. The system sealed. Superboy walked in. Is it dead? I answered calmly. It was never fully alive. Zatanna walked over to the console Robin was working. He pulled the last line of data before the shutdown. A map. Europe. 6 points. 4 red. 1 green. 1 white. Robin blinked. One site's active. One's neutral. The other's offline. I pointed to the green one. Prime's next move. Robin nodded. Confirmed.